and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
Hey, what's happening in San Diego? Very happy to be with you. It is finally a Friday. And it's a Friar Friday at that. Gwynn and Chris. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Adam Klug, once again on the ones and twos, filling in for the vacationing Matt Scraby. Happy to have you all with us. Tony, of course, is down at Petco Park, where the Padres will take on the vaunted Colorado Rockies tonight. A team that storms into town, Tony, with a record of 40-70, but somehow still scares the living daylights out of everybody in San Diego who follows the Padres. Of course, the Rockies came to town earlier this year and recorded a remarkable 3-game sweep, something that the Padres are going to have to make sure does not happen again. How are you today, sir, down at Petco?
That feeling is partly because the Rockies are 5-2 against the Padres.
Yes, that's
year.
right. Yeah.
So, you can feel a little uneasiness. Different team the Padres are now than they certainly were last time these two locked horns. But I'm doing well, my friend. Back at the ball yard, ready for a 3-game set with the Rockies, and man, some more baseball. Nothing, it's not a lot to explain there. It's time to get back to work.
Time
see
to
if
tee
the
it up.
Padres can get some wins.
Tee it up again. Padres enter play at 59-51. They are 8 games over 500. That is their high water mark for this season, and further proof that the Padres have turned the page from last year's disappointment, Tony. They enter the month of August. Obviously didn't play yesterday, so today will be the first game in August. But they're coming off of a 13-9 record in July, on top of a winning record in June, on top of a winning record in May. So the Padres consistently now have had 3 consecutive winning months. By way of comparison, last year they never had more than 1 winning month in a row. So, I think everybody who's a little worried that last year's going to happen, not going to be that way. And I think the Padres have proven that by the way they've stormed out of the gate here to start the second half with a 9 out of 10 victories following that opening loss to the Guards.
It is all about perspective, my friend, and I take you back to everybody freaking out about Mr. Schilt taking an issue with the term roller coaster. Well, here you go. What you just read off, 3 straight months? Is that what you said of winning
3
months?
straight winning months.
He has an argument there.
He has an argument, even though in the course of those 3 straight winning months, they've had winning streaks and losing streaks, but they finished in the black each time.
Again, the eye of the beholder. I would assume a guy like Mike Schilt is taking the marathon version look, while the rest of everyone else is looking at the sprint portion of the race.
And if the Padres lose tonight, there will be panic in the streets of San Diego once again. Austin Gomber starts for the Rockies tonight. I bring this up because
there's going to be a lot of this guy's got especially good numbers right now against the Padres.
Unbelievable. I mean, he's got 2 wins on the season, but he started 2 games against the Padres, allowed 1 run in 11 innings. They haven't even come close to touching him. The Rockies have played 110 games now, Tony. They've only managed to shut out their opponent 1 time. Yeah. And, of course, that was with Austin Gomber on the mound here at Petco Park against the Padres.
And I think he went 6 shutty.
Yeah, he did. And then the Rockies bullpen, which we know is locked down, came in and finished the job for him. So, here's another thing to just make you angry about the Rockies. The Rockies are 5-2 against the Padres. The Rockies are 7-20 against the rest of the National League West. So not only do they seem to hurt the Padres, they don't help the Padres when they're playing any of the other teams in this division. They just roll over.
Yeah,
they go to the rollover thing. So anyway, we'll see what happens. Adam put on the sheet here, is everybody going to be happy with, just taking 2 out of 3 from the Rockies?
Oh, listen.
That's
yes,
Adam.
They better
but I
be
think
happy.
they will be happy with 2 out of. I mean, you got to be happy with 2 out of 3 because you keep adding those up, and you're going to get where you want to go. So
yeah.
Kevin Acee had an interesting note And I think it's something that I talked way too much about for the first 2.5 months of the season. In fact, I was doing deep dive statistical analysis about this. But the Padres, for the longest time, could not hit and beat left-handed starting pitching. Remember that? I mean, they went through that like a 2-month stretch where they scored like 5 runs or total, and the lefties just beat them time and time again. Well, that has changed dramatically. Last 9 matchups against left-handed starting pitchers, the Padres are now 8-1. So they completely turn that around, and hopefully that's a good sign heading into tonight against a lefty in Austin Gum.
Yeah, no, they've done a better job against lefties. I mean, I think adding the likes of a hot Manny Machado helps a big time against left-handed pitching. Having someone like Donovan Solano helps against left-handed pitching. Those aren't things that they had the whole time they were facing those lefties during that tough start that they had. Certainly Manny wasn't the version that we've seen of him now a lot early when they saw a ton of those lefties. So it's all starting to even out, and they've done a lot of this good recent work without Toddy, who is another right-handed hitter. So I expected, as you like to say, water to find its level, and it seemingly has as it pertains to the left-handed pitching.
Well, this recent hot streak not only has people thinking about postseason, but it has some people thinking about perhaps even catching the Dodgers. I know Fangraphs did a nice piece on that today, and with all of the analytics that they use, which are far too confusing for me to regurgitate for any of you out there, the answer that they say is yes, the Padres could catch the Dodgers. The Dodgers have a pretty difficult schedule left. They still have some series against some big-time teams. Padres have played a lot of those teams already. And, as we said, the Dodgers are hurting right now. There is no question about that. But the problem really is, Tony, as we can talk about the Dodgers, is that the Padres aren't playing the Dodgers anymore, right?
No, not until September.
Not till September because of this stupid balanced schedule that they had to put in there. We don't even get a look at them for another month and a half. So Padres really, can't do anything about what the Dodgers do. If they just keep doing what they're doing, they're gonna probably make a little run at the Dodgers, because I don't see the Dodgers going on a heater here, at least the way they're currently constructed. So
no, not the way they're currently constructed, but they eventually will get healthy, and you can expect a heater shortly then after that. They're not a team I think can do much, especially when they're kicking the ball around. They have to actually now. That version of the Dodgers we saw, they actually have to play perfect baseball defensively and some of the other things, because they don't have that margin. That margin that the Padres hadn't really had a lot of the season. That's for the first time in as long as I can remember the Dodgers not having a wide margin for error every time they step on the ball field.
Yeah,
and I can't remember the last time I've ever been able to say that.
Right, and that can be difficult for them because they're used to having a margin for error.
Yeah, exactly.
They used to be able to handle it if Gavin Lux kicked a couple of balls into the outfield, or
it's certainly a lot easier to go out and play mistake-free baseball when you don't have to worry about playing mistake-free baseball.
Good point. I thought that.
And so now that they have to worry about it, all of a sudden a guy like Gavin Lux, who they moved off of the shortstop position to the second base position because of the throwing issues. Now, without that margin, he's probably thinking about that a little bit more than he normally is at this point.
Well, he doesn't have to worry about making bad throws. He can't pick up the ground ball in the first place. So, but that is the Dodgers' problem. The Padres' issue right now is dealing with the Rockies, and that will start tonight. Gomber again for Colorado. Vasquez pitches tonight for the Padres. He's coming off a rather poor outing his last time, but I think overall Vasquez has been, leaps and bounds better than what we saw earlier in the season. I think there's some confidence in him. And, look, if he struggles and can only go 4 or 5 innings, well, the Padres have this bullpen fortified now. Unless it's a blowout, I would expect Mike Schilt to try to get Tanner Scott into this game tonight, get our first look at him at some point along the way. And, Jason Adam will be ready after a day off, and Suarez has had a couple of days off, so the Padres bullpen is loaded and ready to attack tonight in Game 1. Now, Game 2 tomorrow night will be the debut of Martin Perez for the Padres, and, we discussed it. I don't think you can give him a long leash. I know that we need some innings eaten up here until Musgrove is back, but I'm going to just say, I'm speaking for the fans here. They're worried that we get another Rich Hill out of Martin Perez, and I don't think they're the same, but Perez is 2-5, and his whip is 1.65. So, I hope that this guy, pitches solid. We can get a few starts out of him, but if he struggles and gets blown up, there'll be more panic in the streets, Tony. That's the way we react around here. So
so be it. He needs to be in there to eat up innings.
Yeah.
I don't know what fantasy world everybody's in with this a fifth starter and them wanting to be like an upper echelon type of dude. Again,
it's right. We're expecting 7 shutties tomorrow night.
Most of the folks out there can't even name another fifth starter in all of baseball right now.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that. Because they're generally not, top shelf. It's at the bottom of the shelf. You get the little cheaper versions of the of liquor down there, right? It still does the same job. Might give you a little headache.
Versions of liquor.
You might get
what are we drinking? Mad Dog 2020 tomorrow night?
Well, that's not that. See, that's below.
We're getting better
than
that.
Mad Dog 2020. That's different.
We're getting better than that. Okay.
But no, I think. Listen, I don't know. The Ridge Hill thing. People being worried about that Martin Perez is him. The Padres weren't the same team having a Rich Hill in their rotation last year offensively. They couldn't afford to have a guy come in and give up 3-4 runs, and that was tough for the Padres to overcome. This is a different offense than that. And I'm certainly not saying that they'll be okay with him going out there and giving up a 5 spot every start out, but
right.
I think everybody has to temper their expectation in terms of what they're going to get out of Martin Perez. It was ugly for Waldron early, right? They stuck with it. He got a little bit better. Padres figured out ways to win. Same thing for Vasquez. It was rough watching him early, but those innings are still important, and the Padres have still won games when those guys have gone out and not been their best. I'm not saying it needs to be like that every start, but, this offense is good enough to help aid in that, kind of transition for Martin Perez.
Well, he'll throw tomorrow night, and then Sunday, if you missed it on Ben and Woods today, Mike Schilt was on, shedding a little light on the status of Michael King, who has not started since last Saturday in Baltimore. Padres still have not named a starting pitcher for Sunday, said Mike Schilt. Do you want to play this, Adam? You have it there? Well, let's hear what he said about King's status with Ben and Woods.
Yeah, it's something I usually announce or we talk about in our media sessions before the game.
Yeah. So. Okay. Well, I told you he wasn't going to answer that one, but I had to ask it. So there, asked.
Yeah. No,
and
it's fair to ask. It's fair.
Asked and not answered. I know people are just kind of curious, and there's a lot of explanations for it. I'm not trying to create a panic.
No, I don't want any panics either. Effectively, if you really must know, Michael's still dealing with the comebacker, and he's a little sore from the comebacker he took in his last start, and he needs a couple extra days.
There you go. Took a little comebacker in the last start in Baltimore. Needs a couple of extra days. And Tony and I talked about that earlier. And, Tony, you made the point correctly. You don't want Michael King going out there, even if he's got a sore leg, because that can alter the way you throw. And you don't want a guy to hurt his arm trying to compensate for something else. So that makes sense.
It's his land leg. So, when he lands, if he's not 100% and he subconsciously tries to land different to, maybe keep some of the discomfort away, that then it's a chain effect. It moves up the body. And so that's probably on their mind as they're giving him a few extra days to kind of deal with the comeback. I forgot about it because he got hit hard. That ground ball up the middle hit him in his calf or shin. on his land leg, and so it makes sense that they're giving him some time and making sure he's fully close to being right, or not, at least not compensating for it at this point.
All right, so no pitcher yet has been announced for Sunday with that in mind.
He said if you really must
if you must know, yeah. Boy, well, hey, the hard-hitting Ben and Woods, they got it out of him, so good job, guys. Coming up on our show today, Friar Friday interview, Jackson Merrill. We are really excited about that. He's going to be joining us anytime now here in the next 20, 25 minutes. It could be right when we come back from this break. Might be just a tad later in the hour. Just depends on Jackson's schedule there down at Petco Park. But he will be on the program. We're very excited that you'll get to hear an interview with him coming up shortly. The rest of the stuff follows. Gwynn and Chris until 5:30 or so today, ahead of the Padre pregame show and ahead of Padres Rockies tonight on 97.3 The Fan.
Baseball's a lot of things, but it isn't boring. Join Rob Bradford on his podcast, Baseball Isn't Boring. Every day, Rob takes you through the league and spotlights what makes the game fun. He talks with players, managers, GMs, and reporters, all who shine a light on America's pastime. Follow Baseball Isn't Boring in the free Odyssey app or whatever you get your podcasts. Padres back in action tonight. Rockies in town. Mr. Gomber on the mound, who has thrown the ball very well against the Padres this year. The Padres look to kind of give them a different look. Meanwhile, on the Padre front, we've talked a little bit about Vasquez and the kind of rotation. Johnny Brito is a name that we have kind of forgotten about. Some may have forgotten about, but he's been down in AAA, and apparently he's back on the mound on Wednesday. Say they think he's still far away from being on a big league mound at this point. But that is another option for him. He allowed 4 runs while recording just 2 outs in a 7-6 loss to Oklahoma City in 10 innings. So he's just getting his feet wet again, it sounds like. But he'll be another option that the Padres have. My guess is that come expansion of rosters, which isn't much, couple more spots I think open up, I could see those all being pitchers. I don't know that you need another position player. The Padres are pretty loaded up at this point in terms of pitching or in terms of position players. We'll have to see how that goes. We're still a little bit of ways away from that right now.
Yeah, Johnny Brito, 8.44 ERA at AAA. Of course, that's different, right? El Paso, you're playing in these bandboxes and thin air, so sometimes that can be misleading.
Great hitting league.
Yeah.
Great hitting league.
It's a good place to improve on the batting average and not help the ERA. But Brito, yeah, he's got a ways to go, apparently. I would think if we get to Sunday and for whatever reason Michael King, isn't ready and, Mike Schilt deems that they don't want to take any chances, or Ruben Niebla, they don't want to take any chances with this landing leg, which got hit by the comebacker. Brian Hoying has been an opener twice this year. When he was with Miami. So it's possible that you could do that. It's interesting to me, though, because of all the teams in baseball that have used openers, the Padres are not one of them that I can recall.
No.
The Padres don't seem to like that. Mike Schilt, I don't think, is into that. But I would think that would almost be a last resort, because I don't know what other options you would have unless you want to move everybody in your rotation up and pitch them out of turn, and that can create a whole other set of problems. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they end up doing Sunday. Obviously, they're worried about taking care of tonight and tomorrow before that, but it's our job to worry about such things sometimes.
We'll have a better idea of what will happen Sunday, later on tonight or tomorrow for sure. We'll start to kind of peel that onion, I guess you say.
Peel that onion. Wow. You're kind of
like that?
Yeah, I do. I like that almost as much as Mad Dog 2020. It's about very similar to me. It was interesting, Buster Olney, and I wonder what you think about this, Tony. Buster Olney said in writing about how the Padres will deploy the newly stacked bullpen, he wrote the following: if the matchups are better for the Padres with Suarez working the 8th and Scott going in the 9th, that's how Schilt is expected to play it. Now, I don't know if that's inside knowledge that Buster only has, or if he's just
I don't think that's news. I think that's kind of
we just kind of expected that, because I thought Mike Schilt said that Suarez is still my closer. But having said that, he did use Suarez earlier this year in an 8th inning at Atlanta and finished with Estrada. So I would think if he's done it before, now that he's got Tanner Scott, I don't think he would hesitate to do it again.
Exactly. I would say that terminology that Buster used is also true flip-flopped, right? If Tanner Scott's matchups are better in the 8th, he'll probably use Tanner Scott, right? I mean, I know Robert Suarez has been our closer and has done a terrific job, but as you said, Mike Schilt has not been afraid to, if the righties of that particular team, the best piece of that lineup was coming up in the 8th, he would use Robert Suarez then. And I think it fits both ways. And if Tanner Scott, there's some lefties coming in that are the heart and soul of that ball club in the 8th, or shoot, even in the 7th. That's the beauty. He's got options at this point.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He can go a number of different ways depending on the momentum of the game, what the feel is in that moment. Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily anything new. I just think that you'll be able to use either or depending on what the matchups are.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Tanner Scott, who has yet to pitch here, to me, has already ingratiated himself to the Padres and the organization by making it very clear that even though he has been the closer all year for the Marlins and made the All-Star team, etc., and has statistics that might even be better than Robert Suarez's numbers, which is saying something, Tanner Scott said the other day when he got here that he doesn't care about what his role is.
You're an all-star closer. Suarez is an all-star closer. How do you see that, you guys working together, and how important is a role for you?
Whenever the phone rings, I'm ready. I mean, whatever role it is, it's whenever the phone rings, get your heart going and ready to go.
Is that, you're a free agent after the year. The market value saves. Is there any thought about that, or is it still whatever?
No, I'm not even thinking about that. I'd rather win a World Series and not think about that. But I'm ready whenever the phone rings.
That is music to the ears of not only the Padres, Tony, but to the Padre fans who, I don't want to kick Josh Hader around anymore. We know what happened there. What's that?
So don't.
Yeah, that's what I said. I'm going to try to leave him out, but this is what I want to hear from a guy that I require. This is why nobody wanted to acquire Garrett Crochet, who was very, whether he meant to be or not, seemed very concerned with himself rather than the team. And even if Tanner Scott is concerned about himself, that's not what he's saying. He's saying, whatever I got to do. That is the kind of guy I want to acquire and bring in here. And, I'm just happy to hear that attitude. So, and I'm sure Mike Schilt likes it.
Listen, I think that's 99% of the dudes who play this game all have that mindset. This shouldn't be surprised. This is why it was so jarring for the Hader situation, because it just was a way of thinking that many people weren't familiar with, or weren't very many guys who have that train of thought. So good for Tanner. He's ready to pitch when the phone rings.
Yeah, guess what, Tanner? You might be starting Sunday.
Opener. Here you go.
That's right.
All right, let's get to break, because we don't know when or if. No, I shouldn't say if. When Jackson Merrill will join us. Want to give him some space here. We'll get to break. When we come back, more Gwynn and Chris on the other side.
Let's move to baseball. And the Padres closing the gap on the Dodgers. San Diego lit up Clayton Kershaw for 7 runs, 3 earned over 3 2/3 last night. The first start in Kershaw's career, his whole career, Tone, in which he did not record a strikeout. So, the Padres take a 2-game series. They have now won 9 of 11 since the break. Are you giving the Padres a real shot to make up that 4.5-game deficit on the Dodgers and actually win the NL West?
Can the Padres catch the Dodgers? Well, of course they can. The teams have 52 or 53 games left. They're going to play 3 games head-to-head in the last week of the season. The Padres have won 7 out of 10 from the Dodgers so far this year, so why can't they catch the Dodgers? They can.
They can't. And they've had some success against the Dodgers head-to-head, something called the playoffs. So they're not running scared. They're not. And everything the Padres do, they're starting with their front office, which has traded away every prospect, it seems, for 100 years to go after this right now. I don't know whether I like that strategy or think, oh, my God, this could come back to kill you like it has the Lakers since winning that one championship in the bubble in 2020, and you trade away like 8 or 9 guys who might make a run for you several other times. But okay, you can sit there and play that game as long as you want. Do you like the approach? The Padres are going for it. They are as talented as the Dodgers. I know you get Mookie Wilson back. You get other people back, and maybe the Dodgers are the more talented team. Maybe they inch ahead. But, Tony, this should be something we should like watching now that we are at the 1st of August. You got August and September to watch real pennant baseball, old-fashioned the way it used to be with rivals, geographic rivals going after each other. Yes, I think the Padres can do this.
They can. Look, I like the Dodgers more, but the Padres can do this. They just picked up, as you say, they go for it right now. They just picked up a couple of great relievers, right, in Tanner Scott and Jason Adams.
Well, they're bullpen.
They picked up Luis Arise earlier this year. Yes, I meant in the bullpen. They picked up Arise this year. I think they picked up Dylan Cease this year. They go for it, and they have real talent.
All right, Tony Kornheiser, Michael Wilbon there.
Oh, we thought we were watching the whole episode.
Yeah, I was ready to go home. That was good. Thank you, Adam. That was obviously a little PTI. Michael Wilbon. I'm glad to hear somebody on a national level misspeak sometimes. Called him Mookie Wilson. I'm glad I'm not the only one that makes bonehead mistakes like that. But
me and you both. I was like, yes.
Yeah, somebody else messed up once. Yeah, Michael Wilbon said Mookie Wilson. Obviously Mookie Betts. But,
I love those guys.
Yeah, I love those guys too. Of all the talking head back and forth shows and podcasts, that's the one that I really enjoy the most. But yeah, they both like the chance that the Padres have. The one thing that I'll say again, Tony, as we come back, and we're kind of waiting on Jackson Merrill. Hopefully, he should be calling soon. But if we have to wait a few minutes, we're more than happy to do that. So while we wait, the one thing that they brought up is, and Michael Wilbon said, is, it's great to have pennant baseball back and 2 rival teams and a chance to, battle it out. Yes, but guess how much better it would be if they actually played each other some the rest of the season. I don't want to get you started because I know that's your pet peeve. But, Kornheiser said, yeah, they got 3 games left the final week of the season, but that's it. That's all they have left.
They should have at least. They should have. Excuse me. They should have at least 6 more games. At least 6. At least 6. So. But we are back into the old balanced schedule thing.
Balanced schedule. Got to play the Mariners 19 times every year.
I did take issue with one thing. My man Wilbon said baseball is certainly not basketball. It's a much harder championship to win in baseball, which is why you don't have very many repeat offenders hoisting the championship as you do in the NBA. He was making the point that the Padres are trading prospects like the Lakers did it to win the bubble championship in 2020. Different deal here,
Yeah, basketball, you only need 1 or 2 guys can win you a championship. Baseball, you need 26, I believe it is, and usually a lot more than that. So, but look, as Adam pointed out, and he and I were talking before the segment, a lot of our fans out there, a lot of Padre fans out there in general, don't think the national media even knows that the Padres exist. So it's nice to know that at least somebody in the national media definitely knows they exist, and gave them some
think
love there.
I think that is kind of like old. It's old San Diego thinking, because when you think about it, Padres have been. My dad played for that version of the Padres that you're talking about,
right?
And they never were talked about on ESPN, Sports Center, if they had MLB Network, it would have been like the last game that they showed on Quick Pitch, right? Now, I mean, at least as long as I've been working here, not that long, maybe since 2020, and we talked about this a little bit during the roundtable, the Padres are covered more than I can ever remember being covered. Now, maybe on a national standpoint, they might not get talked about as much, but listen, we're playing far more national games than I think we've ever played.
Oh, by a long shot
here in San Diego. So
sure.
It may not be perfect, but that has a lot to do with winning. when your organization is winning and competitive, they generally will talk about you. But if you're not, you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, and no matter how much the Padres win, we need to understand. Don't necessarily have to like it, but we need to understand that no matter how much the Padres win, they're never going to get the attention of the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Mets or Red Sox and many others that are just more baseball staples than the Padres. I mean, look at this. Look at it this way: the Giants won 3 World Series in 5 years. Not that long ago. I still don't think the Giants get the same attention as the Dodgers do. Even though they did that.
They don't.
So,
and they're not. I mean, this is where media market part matters, right? San Diego may be one of the most populous cities in the country, but in terms of media market, it's not there. And so that also aids in the type of coverage that you're getting. And you're right, the Giants have been technically a better team over from 2010 to 2020.
Yeah.
But it felt like we were talking about the Dodgers a lot more, and that's also because of the media and, as you said, baseball staples.
Exactly. All right, Jackson Merrill did tweet out that he'd be with us at 2:40. So if you're tuned in,
Jackson Merrill tweeted that out?
No, I tweeted that out.
Oh.
I tweeted that out. Hey, you'd be proud of me, Tony, that I knew how to do that all by myself. But I put it out there. So if you're tuned in and you're like, okay, where's Jackson Merrill? Look, Padres are going to snag him as soon as he's available, and we'll have him on the show here shortly. In the meantime, it's where are you on the scoreboard, Tony? I think I know what your answer is because I've been around you long enough. Checking out the out-of-town scores. Like Cardinals lost today to the Cubs. It's way too early. But I just have fun with the scoreboard. Like, I like looking at it every day and having games that matter. So.
Yeah, that's different. If you're looking at it because you enjoy looking at the standings, have at it. That's, my advice for those who are looking at it because they want to make sure the Padres aren't falling too far or are pushing their lead, it's not the most joyous way to participate in a marathon like this. I won't be looking at the standings like scoreboard watching for real until we get to September.
All right, well, I'll do it for you. The Braves are still on top in the wild card race. Padres are just a game behind them. And then the Diamondbacks have the 3rd wild card spot, and the Mets are the team right now. The Padres are 1 game up on the Mets.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Here on August 2nd, you see the 3 that are there right now: Braves, Padres, Diamondbacks.
Yeah.
You got 3 NL West teams right now in. If the playoffs ended today.
Yeah.
Do you think it finishes that way wild card wise?
I think the least likely of the 3 at the moment, the one that's teetering the most, is the Braves, which is crazy.
What do you think it will end?
But do I think it'll end like this?
Maybe not like this. Do you think these 3 teams are in?
Do I think these are the 3 that'll be in?
Yes.
And I'll say yes. How do you like that?
Too.
I'll say yes. The Mets are only a half game behind the Diamondbacks.
I think the Mets are in trouble.
Why
me
are they?
Me and Jesse were just talking about. Not only, let's put the injuries aside because they got some tough ones they got to deal with. Their travel here. They go from Anaheim to a 1-game makeup in St. Louis, and then off to Seattle. Those
that's
type
not
of
good.
That's. Oh, excuse me. I messed that up. Let me go again. Anaheim, St. Louis for makeup, Colorado, Seattle. So that's a 4-stop trip that you're about to run into. Hopefully, let's see. Colorado, it's August. You never know what the weather. You could get a rain out there. Who knows? But that's a lot of travel. This team is an East Coast team. I'm coming to the West Coast. And I think the Senga injury that's a big one.
Senga?
Yeah.
They picked up Blackburn. He'll start tonight for the Mets as they try to fill that spot. When you look at the Padres' schedule, Tony, the rest of the way, and I know you probably look at the schedule more than you look at a lot of other things because that's where you have to go and have to be. We got this little home series this weekend. Then after that, Pittsburgh, Miami, Pittsburgh, Colorado. They'll be in Miami and they'll be in Colorado. But next, later in the month, Minnesota comes in for 3, and the Mets come in for 4.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be obviously going to be a very important series. You still got to go to St. Louis. Still got to go to Tampa Bay. The September schedule seems a bit favorable to me.
I don't know.
No, I mean you've got.
I think it's a toss-up, right? Because Detroit, despite their moves, I mean they're playing better baseball than I think a lot of people expected.
Okay.
And that's one of those teams in September that, might be kind of dangerous.
Might cause some problems. Skubal might pitch in that series.
You got San Francisco.
Right. Then we got to finish up the Vetter Cup in Seattle. God.
Finish up the Vetter Cup. Then you come back, or then you go to San Francisco.
Right.
Then you got Houston at home. That'll be a tough series.
Yeah, it will be.
The last week of the season for the Padres is no joke because by that time you'll assume that the Dodgers will be healthy, at least closer to healthy by September 24th. The Padres were rolling for the Dodgers for 3, and they finished with the Diamondbacks for 3.
Yeah, on the road. They finished everything on the road.
If things are going to be like they are right now to the end, that week is going to be incredibly crucial.
Yeah, the final 6 games will be at Dodgers, at Arizona. And right now, those are all 3 playoff teams. So we'll see how it all works out. But that's down the road for the San Diego Padres. Tonight, the focus is the Colorado Rockies. Again, Tony, I watched something last night, and I don't watch this in this way very often. I'm changing gears a little bit here, but I don't know if you saw it. You had a night off, so maybe you caught a little of the Olympics last night. I don't usually watch because I always know the results. But I did know the results. I still wanted to see Simone Biles perform. And she did not disappoint, even though I already knew she won the gold medal.
Yeah.
She jumped out of the gym. She knocked it out of the park. I mean, I'm certainly not qualified to be a gymnastics judge, but just by watching, even if you don't know what you're looking for, you know that she just looks twice as good as all the other gymnasts. I mean, she's just incredible. And I don't know where she ranks on the all-time great athletes, but to come back, 4 years, win the gold medal, then 4 years later have this awful, condition where she can't even find where she is in the air, and all of the mental, breakdown stuff that went along with that, and all of the criticism that she was heaped upon her for being on the Olympic team and not competing. She had to be at the lowest low at that point. Imagine a baseball player like all of a sudden not being able to hit a pitch. That's what it was for her and her sport. And then to come all the way back around 4 years later and again be on top of the whole thing. That's impressive, and I really enjoyed watching that last night. I gotta say, she was.
I didn't
something.
watch her last night. I watched one of the earlier events with my 2 daughters, and I don't know anything about being a gymnast, what it's supposed to look like, but I just know that hers looks different than everybody else's.
That's right.
That's about what I can tell you. I just think it's amazing what all of them do. I mean, even Sunny Lee. I mean, because she won the gold medal the year that you're talking, or the Olympics you're talking about.
That's right. Yeah.
When Simone Biles couldn't participate, she got a bronze, and she's been dealing with her own kidney issues throughout this thing. So
yeah, she had kind of life-threatening kidney issues, and then she comes back, she gets a medal. It was fun to watch, I have to say, last night. I really enjoyed that competition. Simone Biles, one of the great athletes ever, and maybe maybe the best gymnast ever. That's saying a lot because there's been a lot of gymnasts out there, but man,
we are starting to get into the track stuff.
I know it starts tonight, Tony. You got to, you have a. Can you record on the YouTube channel?
Yes, you can.
Do you ever record? Do you ever watch anything on record?
I tell you what, I do record, and it goes into this library, and it doesn't. I don't know. I'm just being old and picky on this.
Okay.
Usually in my DirecTV, you record something, it goes into the DVR section, and it's easy. Boom, you just go to it. This is like a library, and then it's just confusing sometimes. Either way, I can record. I will record so I can keep up with track and field for sure.
All right, that does finally get underway tonight. Waiting on Padre lineup, and guess what? There it is. So can give you that for tonight's game. I think there's some people wondering, will Cronenworth be in there against the left-handed starter? Answer, yes, he will. Profar is going to lead off tonight.
Oh, Luis gets a day.
So it's Arise who gets the day off. Solano will be DHing, batting second. And then Bogarts, Machado, Cronenworth, Hassan Kim, Jackson Merrill, Kyle Higashioka, and Bryce Johnson will bat ninth against the lefty. They always go with Bryce Johnson against the lefty. What have you heard about Fernando, if anything, Tony?
Heard nothing.
Yeah,
I know that
he
has been
much.
I know he has been swinging. He's been hitting. I think he's turning the dial up on that a little bit. Hasn't yet to been on the field, at least from the time we've been here.
Right.
He has been back in the building, which I don't know that I could say, or I've seen him outside, like on the field, a few times this homestand. So. I imagine we're moving closer. What that timeline is, I don't know.
Yeah, but you imagine. I mean, we were talking about this the other day. I mean, with all respects to Bryce Johnson, think about what this lineup looks like, different from just tonight's lineup. If Fernando's right in the middle of it,
yeah.
I mean, it's been good lately. Should get better. All right, stick around. Jackson Merrill is scheduled. I know the Padres are efforting to track him down. He's busy getting ready for the game tonight, but is supposed to be joining us, so it could be any time. Stick around for that. More Gwynn and Chris on the way.
Into the 3 o'clock hour we go. Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello, Adam Klug on the ones and twos. It's a Friar Friday. We've been promoting it actually for the last 24 hours. Jackson Merrill is here finally to join us. Center fielder, all-star center fielder Jackson Merrill, and now the finalist representative for the Padres of the Heart and Hustle Award. Jackson, how was your day, my friend?
My day's going good. Sunny day, no clouds out, so it's going really good.
First, the chat has revealed to us that today is your mom's birthday. We wish her a very happy birthday. Today I got a chance to chop it up with Mr. and Mrs. Merrill on the last road trip. Lovely, lovely people. I'm sure they are super excited to be following you around, man. We haven't got a chance to talk on this airway about your season so far. I mean, it's got to have been a pretty cool experience at the big league level for you in 2024.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. The guys have made me feel really comfortable, so it's kind of just a really fun season. You kind of just playing baseball like a little kid, and I think that's really important.
Jackson, Chris here, and I just want to take a second while I have the opportunity for the fans who don't get a chance to talk to you, to thank you for the way you've played and for playing the game the right way. I was talking to some people the other night about it. Not only have you had a lot of success and things have gone well for you, but you seem to really respect the game. You have fun playing the game. You don't call a lot of attention to yourself. These are all wonderful characteristics that a lot of us really enjoy watching in your play. And I'm curious, who would you give the most credit to out there for helping you maybe play the game of baseball, quote, the right way?
I think definitely my father, just the way he raised me, maybe not on the baseball field, but, off the field to be a respectful human being, and then just seeing the game and how it was played before I got here. There's plenty of other players before me that I watched growing up, and, they demonstrated a way to play the game, and that's kind of how I want to keep going, I like swag, I like flair, but, I'm not going to try and draw attention to myself always. Just try and play my game, and hopefully that draws attention to me.
Jackson, I take you back to Korea in the breakfast room, an early morning. You hadn't even really gotten your career started yet, and you and I got a chance to have a conversation. We were talking about hitting. We were talking about your approach. Somewhere down the line in about, what was it, June, you started hitting a boatload of home runs. I know from having had the discussion with you that is not your intent, but what goes through your mind, though, as you get on one of these heaters, and it seemed like you were hitting a home run every other night?
No, I mean, it's awesome. It's just fun, but I think just what we talked about, just staying to that approach and not trying to get too big or not trying to do too much really helps. I think it'll just come naturally. Homers always come naturally. None of it is really forced. So I know some people got the ability to kind of pick and choose, and some people are power guys, and that's what they do. But for me, I just try to hit line drives, and sometimes I hit line drives just high in the air.
Jackson Merrill is with us, and I think he's the best rookie in the National League. I know a lot of our listeners think that too, Jackson. And I'm curious, do you? I almost think I know the answer to this because of the way you play the game. But is that even remotely important to you? I mean, people talk about Skeens, talk about yourself, and that kind of award. Is it ever even enter your mind?
No, dude, it's World Series or nothing to me. I don't really have any other goals in this game besides winning. So, obviously an award is cool, but it's really nothing compared to winning a World Series. I'd love to do both. That'd be awesome. But yeah.
Jackson, that clip is going to be clipped quite often. I have a feeling we're going to hear that quite often. I got to ask you a little bit about your transition to center field. You said that you really had only worked in left field at all during the offseason. You get to spring training, you're in center field, and they haven't moved you since. I want to hear your evaluation on how you feel defensively in center field.
For the amount I played, maybe kind of good, but I'm always looking to improve in any way I possibly can. Like spring training, I was supposed to go play left field, and go from there, but I think like 2 weeks in or like a week and a half in, they put me in center, and I didn't argue about it. I just kind of went and tried to do a job, and it's what I've been doing since. So, definitely ways to get better. and I want to. But yeah, I think I've been doing a decent job.
Is there any part of you that wants to eventually get back to the infield, or you just gonna play wherever they put you?
Wherever they put me is wherever they need. I'll do it for them. If it happens to be shortstop again at some point, I'm in. But if it's center field for the rest of my career, then I'm in with that too.
Merrill is with us, Padres rookie outfielder, and as Tony mentioned, all-star outfielder. I've heard many other longtime players who finally get into an all-star game and are walking around a clubhouse for the first time with the likes of maybe a Pujols or whoever it was that they looked up to in the game, and here you get in your first year to walk in with Bryce Harper and Yelich and Ohtani and everybody else we can name. What was your all-star experience like for you?
No, it was awesome. It was a cool experience. A lot of media, but I guess that's part of it. So, that wasn't too bad. But other than that, it was really cool. I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed, honestly, the selection, like just being honored the most, But playing the game on the field with a bunch of different people from a bunch of different teams, I think that was the best part.
Now, we know you grew up in Maryland, and I imagine going back to the East Coast, at least based on the way you played, it seemed like you had it circled on the calendar. I mean, whether it was Boston, a team that you grew up rooting for, or going back home to Baltimore, which one of those two stands out as the one that you really were looking forward to the most?
I don't really know, honestly. I never really had a big thought about it. I think the best part for me was just trying to play the same game everywhere, not really making too much different in my game, just going and playing like it was a normal baseball game everywhere I went.
Jackson,
I do think that Baltimore was pretty cool to play
at. Yeah, that's your spot. Jackson, we appreciate the time so much. Just one last thing for me. Saw you mention your Mount Rushmore of outfielders. It's an interesting list. I mean, look, Willie Mays, Barry Bonds, Mickey Mantle, Fernando Tatis Jr. got in there. First of all, why Fernando? Secondly, you taking any ribbing on the fact that, my partner's dad didn't quite make the Mount Rushmore of outfielders?
Well, I'm throwing him at my Mount Rushmore. I'll give him a DH spot.
There you go.
But,
fair enough.
But no, Toddy's been a huge help to me and everything. He's probably the reason where I'm at right now in the outfield and why I've had success, because he's kind of around the same age, one of the closer guys in my age on the team, so he's made me feel real comfortable. And, he's taught me some things here and there and just he let me play freely. So, it's safe to say that I don't really know if I'd be here without him.
Talk about that a little bit before we let you go. I mean, it's not often that a guy your age comes up to the big league level and has a guy close to his age that has, quite a bit of time. That sounds like it made it a little bit more comfortable for you as you got acclimated at the level.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's just like to have fun. Having someone that likes to have fun with you, it's special.
Well, Jackson, listen, man, we know you got to get to work. Keep up the good work, man. Continued health. Thank you for your time today, and we'll talk later.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
Boom. Jackson Merrill there on Friar Friday. I think you get a chance to understand why this organization loves this dude so much and really is excited about a guy that is going to be a homegrown guy, that is a homegrown guy.
I wonder how much you've heard what I heard, Tony, going around the league, and meeting with all kinds of other broadcasters and media in other cities, because that's the thing that I'm most impressed about. Not that he's a good player. There's a lot of good rookie players, but that he does everything the right way. He really does seem to respect the game. He's not a look-at-me guy. But at the same time, he has a lot of fun out there. I mean, he cheers. He's always trying to fire up his teammates. It takes a long time for a lot of major league players to figure all that out. He seems to have a lot of it figured out already.
He has a balance. As he heard him say, he loves swag. I've seen him. He's swagged out. However, there's a balance. And I always, when you ask the question of where did you learn that from, that answer is typically, when it comes to people like a Jackson Merrill, you usually hear, somewhat of the same answer.
Yeah.
My father was the one who kind of implemented that. And he said not even on the baseball field, just in general. So those are characteristics that let's remove the uniform and remove, the occupation and just, walking down the street downtown and, how you treat people at the grocery store, regular walks of life. That stuff applies well. And, I guess it might be somewhat sad that oftentimes we don't assume that those things apply to athletes. But Jackson Merrill, as you heard, that's just a normal upbringing right there being applied to everyday life.
Yeah. I imagine everybody, because that was the first time I've talked to him, I imagine pretty much everybody around baseball feels the same way I do right now the first time they talk to him, which is impressed.
Exactly. That's the word, that word that you just mentioned is the word you hear around the league. At least that's what I've heard when I've heard other media markets talk about him. An impressive young man is what you continuously hear.
Yeah. And that's a good thing. That is a really good thing. And the kind of season he's having, I knew that he was not going to care about the Rookie of the Year, but it would have been fun if he would have said, I want to kick Skeens' butt, and I'm upset we're not going to face him next week. But I didn't expect to hear that.
I know that you and I both have Atlanta, Padres, Arizona going in, but it might be something to get a Pittsburgh Pirates to slide into that last spot. Padre Pirate joint.
There we go.
That travel would suck for first round.
Well, you're getting to do it.
We might get the home series, though, so it might be all right.
You're doing San Diego to Pittsburgh Sunday night, are you not? I know you're excited by that.
I'm not, actually.
Oh, that's right. You're not on the next road trip.
I am not on the next road trip.
What are we going to do? What are we going to
do? Good. That was a good interview. Love catching up with Jackson.
Very good.
Shout out to JP Nolan, too, for pulling the strings to get us a Jackson Merrill on this Friar Friday. So let's get to break. We got plenty more show ahead. I've got to get down to listen to Mike Schilt talk. I think Chris has got some sound from Michael King and his update on that ground ball that took his calf out. And you'll get some more Gwynn and Chris on the other side. Here's some traffic.
I can't talk that fast, but I can tell you that SD Fat Loss worked, and it worked fast. I lost 37 pounds last summer. I've kept the weight off. That's because SD Fat Loss is not just a diet, it's a way of life. It's changing the way you look about eating food, the way you make decisions, and just We do a Friar Friday interview every Friday, but some are just more fun than others. Really enjoyed that with Jackson Merrill. Good to have him on. His debut appearance here on Gwynn and Chris went very well. Hope you enjoyed that interview as much as we did. And if you're just tuning in and you missed any part of it, you want to hear it, you can always go to our website, 973thefansd.com, or download the Odyssey app. Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile, and you can get tons of benefits. You can also still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Use their savings calculator to find out how. Go to T-Mobile.com/switch. Padres Rockies tonight, Game 1, 3-game series. Vasquez tonight for the Padres. The newly acquired Martin Perez tomorrow night for the Padres. And a big old fat question mark for Sunday's game. Right now, Mike Schilt was on earlier with Ben and Woods. Talked about the fact that Michael King, who would probably actually be due to pitch tonight or tomorrow on regular rotation, did suffer an injury. It came in the form of a batted ball that struck his landing leg in his last start against the Baltimore Orioles. Mike Schilt said that he's still feeling some discomfort from that, and they want to wait to be sure 100% that King is ready to go before they put him back in the lineup. A little earlier, we actually heard from Michael King himself on this situation. Let's let you in on that now.
How feeling since the last start?
It's fine. Swelled up on me a little bit, so it's a little sensitive and kind of a gnarly bruise, but it's good.
Sort of day after or days after?
Yeah, days after. Just feeling like some tightness, a little bit of pain where the swelling is. Just soft, It's got to be a little harder than I wanted it to.
What's your understanding of how that affects when you'll next pitch?
We've been taking it day by day. I still don't know full scheduling. It's more of like what I can tolerate that day, and we're moving forward from there. The communication I've had said with them, as in pitching coaches and front office, has been like, we have all these off days, so it's, I don't want to say good timing, but like they have people that they can kind of fill into my place. But whenever I'm ready to go, I'll definitely get the ball.
I'm sorry.
No.
Have you thrown a bullpen with it yet?
No.
No? Do you know when that is?
Hopefully in the next couple days.
All right, there's Michael King down there at Petco Park a little earlier today. I don't know. I'm just reading between the lines, but I'm thinking that Sunday is looking a little more doubtful than anything for Michael King. Mostly because he said he hasn't thrown a bullpen. I not so much because of anything he said about the discomfort he has in his leg, but I don't. We'll see. I mean, I don't know what goes into all of these decisions. Everybody knows more than, and I'm sure Michael King knows more than he's even telling us there. But like I said, if he doesn't pitch in this game Sunday, who's going to? And really, I mean, unless you move Waldron up a day, which I guess you could do with a knuckleballer. But honestly, you'd be moving him up 2 days because he's supposed to pitch Tuesday in Pittsburgh. So you'd be moving him up 2 days. But sometimes with a knuckleballer, you can do that. Or, would you go with the newly acquired Brian Hoying as an opener? Something he did a couple of times when he was in Miami earlier this year. We'll find out. But right now, that's a blank spot. Adam Klug is sitting in for Scraby today. Scraby's checking in day 2 of his family reunion in Iowa. And Adam was upset yesterday. He wasn't upset. I don't think you were really upset, but you said you were. We did a fantabulous game show yesterday, not a fantabulous sports game show. The category was geography related rather than sports related. Adam did prevail.
Yes, I did.
Beat Tony Gwynn Jr. in a tiebreaker situation to win your first ever fantabulous game show.
Should I just retire now?
Yeah,
Undefeated?
You probably should, undefeated.
Never
but Adam
lost.
said to me, I wanted to show you how much sports knowledge I have. Well, guess who that challenged? That challenged me to come up with some stuff to test Adam's sports knowledge.
Does this fall into the category of be careful what you wish for?
Yes, I think it might. Unless you just, burn through these questions, then it might work out in your favor very much so. But we don't really have time to do this right now because we have our countdown coming up at the bottom of the hour, and Tony's only got certain times that he can be with us today. So just sit tight. We're going to have some fun with trivia a little bit later in the program.
Okay. I look forward to it.
Yes. In the meantime,
Could I before you move on, can I offer a thought on Michael King?
Of course.
We talk about, you think he might be doubtful for Sunday. We obviously don't know, but I'm not saying I'm happy this happened or it's a good thing this happened. I'm not saying that. But there are concerns about the innings pitched totals for Michael King transitioning from the bullpen to his first season as a starter, and just might this be an opportunity to potentially limit some of his innings right now in the near term so that he's ready to go late in the season and in the playoffs?
I don't think there's any question about it. As a matter of fact, I think that more than the fact that he got hit with a line drive on the leg might explain why, he hasn't pitched since then. I totally believe that. Tyler Glasnow went on the disabled list for the Dodgers right around the All-Star break with a strained back.
Was it playing catch with his kid or something?
Playing catch with his kid, supposedly. I mean, a major league ball player hurt his back throwing a catch with his kid. I find that a little hard to believe. But, Glasnow's back. He's healthy. He looked just fine the other night. But the Dodgers, wanted to limit him. Glasnow's never pitched this many innings in a season. And you just said it. Michael King, 104 is his career high coming into this year. This year he's already at 124. That's if he doesn't throw another pitch. So I think that definitely has something to do with it. Yeah, with all these days off, you had Monday off, you have Thursday off, you're going to have next Monday off. You hopefully can work it where he misses one or two turns in the rotation. That saves a whole lot.
Again, I want to be clear. Not saying I'm happy that this happened or glad, but just view it as an opportunity.
That's right. And I think that's what the Padres are viewing it as. Yeah. I think that they'd like to win, game 1 and 2 of this series. Of course they would, but, hopefully just be able to maybe get through with the bullpen day and opener on Sunday and give everybody an extra day.
It almost kind of relates to the discussion, the conversations we had about Solano playing against lefties over Jake yesterday, and today Arise is on the bench and Solano's playing with Jake playing also against the lefty, and it's not so much that Arise and Cronenworth should never play against lefties and Solano should always start over them, but it's more of the thing that nobody starts every single day, so you can be strategic about when you give Jake and Arise their days off. You do it against a lefty and you've got Solano.
Yeah.
Opportunity.
I mean, Solano's like an automatic at least 2 hits tonight, right, against the lefty. I mean, that's what he's been doing all season long. And Arise has been, battling that wrist injury. So, he gets a night off tonight. It's nice to have that ability if you're the Padres. And Mike Schilt is, going to take advantage of that. So, all right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, Tony rejoins us. We have I think it turned into kind of a fun countdown. Today we'll let you know what it is, and we'll share it with you when Gwynn and Chris comes back. Mediterranean cuisine, like I do, the best Greek food. Authentic. Try Spiro's for authentic Mediterranean. Coronado, La Jolla. Also, if you're on your way out to the game, Petco Park. Got a Spiro's right there. Third base line. Main concourse near the Western Metal Supply building. For more info, dining takeout options, visit spiroscuisine.com. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., who's down at Petco Park. Adam Klug, sitting in for the vacationing Mr. Scraby. Time for a check of traffic, and then today's a little bit off-kilter countdown.
Sorry, I'm going to jump in here. Since we broke a little early, traffic is not ready, so...
We'll go right to the countdown then. Or did it come in? Traffic just came in, people! A little behind the scenes for everybody there.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Vicki Pepper.
15 south of El Cajon, still got this wreck blocking the middle lane. 5 north at the 78, still got this collision blocking the carpool and left lanes. That's going to cost you about 20 minutes. I'm Vicki Pepper with Gwynn and Chris on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's now time for Gwynn and Chris to rank their top 5 of the day.
Gonna grip and rip as usual.
But this isn't just a regular top 5 list.
I love it. It sounds sadistic, but I love it.
This is the countdown. And it starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right. Most every Friday, we pick a topic. We count down our top 5 favorites in that category. And Adam is going to jump in here today with Scraby out and join us in counting down our topic today. Lucky for you guys that last weekend, while I was on my little mini vacation to Big Sur, we played the loudest, most annoying sounding board game in the history of board games. If you've ever played it, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's called Scattergories. Nothing? You guys have never heard of it?
Oh, I've heard of it.
All right, you've heard of it. But if you've ever played it, it comes with a timer because you have a certain amount of time to jot down your answers in the category. And the timer is like a tick-tock. I mean, anyway. Drove me crazy.
It drove you
nuts. It's not the game I thought you were going to say when you said it was the loudest.
It was so loud. It was so annoying. So anyway, as that is not going to make my list, but our category today is the top 5 board games. Games that are not as loud, hopefully. And
I've got a loud game on my list.
You do have a loud game on your list. All right, well, let's see what we come up with here. Our top 5 board games.
Number 5.
Since it's my category, I'll start off today, and I'm going to open up with an oldie but a goodie. They actually have national championships in this game. Some people are legendary and amazing at this game. I've never quite been that good, but I think I'm okay at it. It's called Scrabble. Scrabble. I don't know if anybody's, it seems like it's probably not as popular now as it once was. Get the 7 tiles, you try to create words, and hit. You want to hit the double word score and the triple word score. I do have one hint for anybody out there that's going to be playing Scrabble anytime soon, which is probably like 3 of you. If you get an S, don't use it in a word. Use it at the end of another word to make your word so that you get counted for both words. Does that make any sense to anybody?
Yep, that makes sense. That's good.
S's, there's only 4 S's in the game. And I've always felt that S's in category are the most important letter to get. You want to get S's. Anyway, that's All right, little Scrabble help. You didn't expect to get that, did you, Adam?
No, definitely not.
Who's going second?
You go, Tony.
How about the Game of Life?
I love that one.
One of my favorites. Game of Life. I never won that game. I got beat consistently in life.
Well, it's okay. You've won the real Game of Life, Tony. So that's all that matters.
That's true.
And it had the fun little spinner thing to tell you how many squares you got to move ahead.
You had to constantly tell people to stop spinning it so hard so it wouldn't come up off of the thing.
Off its track. Life was a fun game.
Life was a good game, yeah.
All right. I actually played a game of that as recent as like 2 or 3 years ago. for some reason it popped out, and I kind of enjoyed it. All right,
I
Adam.
haven't played it recently.
I'm going to preemptively start by naming a game that will not make my top 5, even though it's one of the most popular games of all time, and that's Monopoly.
Monopoly will not make your top 5.
Takes way too long to play. Takes way too long to play, and I recently played it with my kids. You spend way too much money on the properties, and then the rent is like minuscule, and so you lose money on it. So
here's the thing with
sounds
Monopoly.
like you don't know how to play Monopoly.
Sounds like you don't. It sounds like This sounds like it may come up again because Tony's list has just started.
I
but
said it was one of the most popular games ever. So
I want to say.
Out of the way.
I want to just say this. I have never finished a game of Monopoly.
There you
Whoever
go.
has, you always get
Neither
tired
have
of
I.
it at some point and throw the money into the middle, and you're like, forget it.
I'm gonna reach into the Wayback Machine here and play, and I'm gonna name a game that I actually haven't played in a really long time. I'm kind of curious if it is really truly a board game, which we discussed before this. But I'm gonna go with Kerplunk.
Kerplunk.
Do you guys remember Kerplunk?
I don't remember the name Kerplunk, but you're gonna have to explain it.
It was like a cylindrical tube with marbles inside, and it had a bunch of red little sticks to go through the tube, and you pull out one stick at a time, and the marbles fall through as you pull more and more.
It's a version of Jenga. Sounds like
Which might appear later.
Oh, you might have that. You seem to like games
see
where
the type of style of game
Get a little nervous
Adam
when you make that move.
All right, Kerplunk gets a mention today.
Really, just wanted to say Kerplunk.
And you said
Number 4.
All right, number 4 for me is going to be another older game, but I think this game changed the way games kind of came out, because I think after this one, just about everybody came up with their own version of something like this, but it's a simple, old, and it's not going to surprise you guys, Trivial Pursuit.
Yeah,
I love Trivial Pursuit. Obviously, I'm very trivial.
Going for the Brainiac game so far.
But after Trivial Pursuit, right? Everybody kind of had a board game that had like a wheel or some sort of way you had to cover the board. But Trivial Pursuit was the original. I thought it was great. The only negative for Trivial Pursuit is if you played it a lot, which I happened to do back in the day. You couldn't help but regurgitate the questions. So. There was only a certain amount, eventually.
Trivial Pursuit came in at number 7 for best-selling board games of all time.
Of all time, wow.
All time.
Yeah.
Trivial Pursuit sold 100 million plus, introduced in 1931.
Really?
Oh, no, excuse me. Introduced in 1981.
1981, I was going to say. All right, great. That's number 4 for me. Little Trivial Pursuit.
Number 4 for me actually came out in 1931, and it was the board game Battleship.
I sunk your Battleship.
Love Battleship.
Tony.
I didn't think I liked that. I didn't think I would like that game when it was first introduced to me as a kid. Mainly because I'd only been playing games like Life and Monopoly. And so, but as I got to learn to play it, it's a fun game. I enjoy a good Battleship game.
Yeah, you hid your 5 ships on your board.
That's right.
Person would guess a coordinate, and then you had to give them the bad news for you. You hit me.
Missed.
I'm hit. I'm hit. And then, at the end, the commercial of the kid saying, "You sunk my battleship." It's a classic. All right, Adam, you're number 4.
I will go with the game that I referenced earlier that is loud.
Okay.
It'll be Operation.
Operation was loud?
Where you got to pull out
I remember
the little
sure.
bones in it, but if you touch the edge...
Yeah, you get shot. You get shocked. I mean, this was a game that...
tweezers.
Yes, and it made noise, but it also gave your arm a little buzz.
Yes, it did.
If you touched the side there.
I forgot about Operation. That's a good one.
How about a game coming out like Operation where the participant could actually get injured? That was kind of tough. Operation was tough, man.
Number 3.
All right, number 3 for me is going to be good old everyday chess.
Ooh.
Maybe I don't know if everybody thought of this as a board game. It wasn't quite the same as one that you bought in the toy store, but I just love a good chess game. I think it's remarkable that you sit there with those 16 pieces and they all move different ways, and every game starts the same, and about 2 minutes into it, all of your plans have been shot to hell because the other guy's doing something you didn't expect, and it's quite the mind game. But I learned a lot about chess, but not enough to be really good at it.
Yeah.
I remember even getting a couple of books on how to play chess, and I started to read it, and I'm like, nah, forget it. It's not that. I don't like it that much. But, I mean, it's quite amazing what these these chess players could do.
Introduced in 1200.
1200, yes.
It's the number one ranked best-selling board game of all time.
Oh, okay. How about that? In 1200 it started.
Year 1200.
Yeah, Scraby would give me a hard time for that and say that I was there when the first edition was put out, but I think I was around for the second edition of chess. Not quite that long. All right, Tony, number 3 for you.
Number 3 for me is Clue. Love me some Clue.
The candlestick in the library.
Mr. White with the candlestick.
Yes.
In the auditorium.
Yes.
Fun game. You know, it took me for the real honest truth about this game is I probably didn't know how to play it, like really know how to play it until I was, older. I was playing it as a kid. I think we kind of just made up our own rules to how to play Clue. So it was reintroduced to me in my college years, and I enjoyed it much better then.
I don't know if it's the only game, but it's certainly one of the games that they made a movie from that game.
They did.
Yeah, back in the day. All right, Colonel Mustard, it's your turn over there.
About to name my third. You've done 3. Tony's done 3. We haven't had a single repeat, single overlap yet.
Not yet.
Number 3, I'm going to go with Connect 4.
Connect 4.
Classic game.
4.
That's
Play
a
with
game
my kids
that
all the time.
Yeah, the board stands up.
Correct.
And you try to drop this.
You got the red checkers, the black checkers. You're got to try and get 4 in a row.
It's not easy to do for some reason.
The key is to try and get 3 in a row unblocked on either side so that you win no matter what.
Right, so that the person can't defend you.
Can't block you.
Yeah, but my mind never worked well enough to figure out Connect 4. I just didn't.
That came in at number 18 of all time.
Oh, we've got the historical fact checker back there.
Thank you for coming with the knowledge there,
Thank
Tony.
you, Tony. Very much appreciated.
You're welcome.
Number 2.
All right, number 2 for me, I'm going to go with Pictionary, which turned into a television show. But I had a lot of fun with Pictionary. I was a terrible artist and still am. Can't draw anything. But just trying to draw something and have your partner trying to figure out what it is and just... Do you ever know? I don't know if you played Pictionary.
I'm such a terrible drawer. I don't usually play.
Yeah, but I used to play a lot and I enjoyed it. But the go-to move in Pictionary is you draw the object that you're trying to convey. The other person can't figure out what in the world you're drawing, so you get angry. You're not allowed to speak, so you take the pen or pencil and just tap it on the board. No, this is it. This.
What, you don't realize what I'm drawing?
Yeah, it's not a frog, and you just keep hitting the paper with your pencil, which obviously doesn't help your partner figure out what it is at all. But Pictionary was kind of a fun one, and they did a lot of variations off of that as well.
That came in at 13, by the way, 1985.
We're doing a good job historically on this countdown.
My number 2 is not on the countdown, but it was a favorite of my father's, and that passed on to me. How about a little Yahtzee?
Oh, yeah, good call.
How about a little Yahtzee?
Little Yahtzee. What a game that is.
Adam, are you familiar with Yahtzee?
Vaguely.
Really? Only vaguely familiar with Yahtzee.
I know it's spelled Y-A-H.
Yes.
Yahtzee.
Yeah, it's but you know what
I don't think I've ever played.
Here's the great thing, Tony, and I think you should even pick this up as a stocking stuffer for the kids. They have a handheld computerized Yahtzee that you can get at Target for like $8. And you can play a million Yahtzee games.
Yeah, forget the kids.
Or even for you. Oh, it's fun. I used to love it, man. You can play it, and it keeps track of everything that you have right on there and the scores. And when you fill a category, and you can play Yahtzee right there in the handheld computer. Our little game there. I'm sure you'll get quite the look at the back of the plane from that one. But it's a recommendation.
A little loud.
No, it's you can play with the sound off.
Okay.
You can play with the sound off and not disturb anybody. Yahtzee. I like it, Tony. Good call.
I have already gone with Kerplunk and Connect 4, and I will continue to push the boundaries of what is considered a board game.
Okay.
And I'll say Jenga.
Jenga. I think it's a board game.
Board game. It's in a box that you take out of the box and play with.
I think they refer to Jenga as a board game.
I got Jenga as a board game.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's a board game. Where's it ranked, Tony? Is it on the rankings anywhere?
Let me get to the rankings. My fault, fellas.
Be ready.
I wasn't ready.
Jenga. Are you good at Jenga, Adam?
I'm good at Jenga, and it brings.
What is the strategy that you? Is there a good strategy there?
We'll certainly start off by knocking out the middle ones as opposed to the side ones.
Okay, right.
And try and leave your opponent with a decision they don't want to make.
Ah, all right. Well, I've seen some
not
people
on the list.
Didn't
Not
make
on
the list.
No.
I think Jenga's it's still a popular game. You see it everywhere.
But my number one is absolutely a board game.
All right, number one. Number one for me, I'm going to go off the board here because I know that it's not in the list that Tony's putting together. But it's not going to surprise Tony because during the pandemic, what did I do every single night? I went home and played Stratomatic baseball, and thank goodness for it because that took up 3/4 of our show, it seemed like, the next day.
Where would we have done without
I don't know what we would have done
and
without me sitting back and playing all these Stratomatic baseball games to pretend there was a Padres season we could talk about. But yeah, I played Stratomatic baseball since college, and I still like to play today. I know Mr. Elston on the midday show is a big-time Stratomatic baseball player. I'm sure that, in this day and age of technology, everybody feels like, the MLB The Show and all of those are the most realistic, and they are in terms of visual. But for sitting down and rolling some dice, Stratomatic is the most real thing to baseball. It always has been. So if you've never played it out there and you're a baseball fan, I think it's something worth trying at least once. Tony, number one for you.
It's Monopoly. I love
Monopoly. He goes with it.
I love Monopoly.
The game I ranted against.
Yeah. I love the new versions. I love the different versions.
Oh, that's right. You can play a San Diego version of Monopoly where all the streets are San Diego names.
Yeah, they got a like new age one where it's credit cards. I like Monopoly. It is a game that I've never finished. I completely
you can't
admit
finish.
I've never ever finished Monopoly. Ever.
Never. You always throw the money into the middle of the table at some point.
You just get tired, and whoever
you land on Pacific Avenue
for
the 8th time in a row, and you're like, "That's it."
Exactly.
I've had it. Let me ask you: when you play Monopoly, Tony, are you a free parking person? Do you put money in the free parking to?
Absolutely.
All the money from Chance and Community Chest has to go on the free parking square.
I didn't know there was any other way to play.
Okay.
Taxes.
All right.
Money to the community chest, all that's going into the park.
All goes into the free parking. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. That's it is a classic, obviously. Probably is it number one? Where does it rank on the?
It's number one.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
No, excuse me. Number three. Actually, chess, checkers, Monopoly, top three.
In that order.
Yes.
All right, Adam, you're up. Number one. This has been a more entertaining category than I expected.
Very diverse group. Again, I'm about to name the 15th game. None of them have been repeats. My number one game, the game of Risk. The game of world domination.
Risk.
Oh, that would be you. That would be you.
Taking over the world, baby. Brain is weak.
I played maybe one game of Risk in my life.
Another difficult game to finish.
Really tough to finish. You almost have to leave it out for 3 days and keep coming back to it. But I guess there is something about collecting your forces along the right borders.
You got to get Kamchatka and protect the United States.
Listen
North
to this
America
guy.
from the Asian invasion.
The Asian invasion.
Kamchatka.
Risk. How do you get control of stuff in Risk?
I've never even heard of Risk.
Really? You never heard of it? Yeah. What do you do? I mean, I know what your goal is to take over the world, but how do you go about doing that?
You acquire and lose figurines, and you place them in all the different countries on the board, and then there's an attacker and a defender. So if you own a piece of the land and someone else is trying to overtake it, you roll dice.
Okay.
And the attacker gets 3 dice, and the defender gets 2 dice, I believe, and you roll them, and then the 2 highest numbers of the offender, the attacker, go against the only 2 rolls of the defender.
And whoever wins that takes over the
if the 2
area
highest of the attacker are higher than both, then they lose 2 guys, and if the defender is higher, then the attacker loses guys, and then if you can knock out all the defenders, you get to invade their land.
Beautiful. Adam Klug, people. Didn't know you were a warlike guy, Adam, but now we know. All right.
Didn't figure me for a guy of world domination.
World domination. Yeah. You've done a good job taking over San Diego. We appreciate it here on
Speak to it.
97.3 The Fan. There was our countdown. Hope you kind of had some fun with that. More Gwynn and Chris is coming up, including a chance for you to play some trivia. Chris versus the fans. could go to Las Vegas, but you got to call in to play. 833-288-0973. It's next.
Padres Rockies today.
This one is gone.
Pre-game 5:40. First pitch 6:40. The Padres play here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
August's first weekend of baseball is right around the corner, and there's plenty of value to be
All right, we've already covered a lot of ground on this Friar Friday. We welcome you back to the program. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr. down at Petco Park, Adam Klug sitting in for Mr. Scraby. If you want to reach Scraby, look him up in Dubuque, Iowa at the Scraby family compound. They are having a family reunion, so we're missing Scraby for a few days, but Adam's doing a great job filling in. Hope you enjoyed our countdown today. It was a little bit off center. Favorite board games, but Adam, you said there was a lot of conversation on the chat about
they really enjoyed that topic. Chris,
they liked that. What did you see? Was there thumbs up and down on any of our selections? Like your pick of Risk as the number one board game ever?
People liked Risk. I saw a little Guess Who in there.
Guess Who? Okay, I think that was like Trivial Pursuit. I think, was it not?
I find it more
No,
not like it at all.
I don't know.
You never played Guess Who?
I guess not.
Shoots and Ladders in there.
Shoots and Ladders. Wait, Candyland? Did Candyland make it?
It did in the chat. Backgammon.
Backgammon's a good one. Yeah, I probably should have thought of backgammon. Played many a game. All right, well, good. I'm glad everybody had a good time with that. Jackson Merrill was on the program as well in the 3 o'clock hour. Really fun, good, entertaining interview, if I do say so. If you'd like to hear it, if you missed it earlier, you can listen anytime you like, 97.3thefansd.com or the Odyssey app, or better yet, just stick around. We're going to probably play it for you again in the 5 o'clock hour. Jackson and the Padres take on the Colorado Rockies tonight. Game 1 of a 3-game series. The Rockies have indeed been the Padres' nemesis this year. Rockies are 5-2 against the Padres, including the sweep, which was back in May. Austin Gomber will pitch tonight for Colorado. He was the starting pitcher in the final game of the series here at Petco Park earlier this year. That was a game the Rockies won 8-0, and it still stands after 110 games as the only time this year that the Rockies have shut out their opponent. Padres can't let any of this stuff happen again. Time now to play some Chris versus the Fans. Chance for you to be qualified for a trip to the Rio, Las Vegas, including a 2-night stay, dinner for two, and a day bed at the Rio pool. The Rio, Las Vegas. It's back. New ownership, newly remodeled rooms, 4 sparkling new pools, a brand new food hall, all ready for you now and your next Vegas escape. It's beyond the expected. It's beyond the Strip. It's beyond your wildest dreams. It's the Rio Las Vegas. The Rhythm of Vegas. Book now at RioLasVegas.com. Let's go.
If you had one shot, one opportunity to take down the human almanac himself,
howdy do.
Now is your time.
Listen to me, this guy is dangerous.
Now is your opportunity to win a prize.
Well, I hope you know what you're in for.
Chris versus the Fans starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, chance for you, as I mentioned, to win that, be qualified to win the trip to Las Vegas. Show your trivia knowledge, something that Adam Klug is going to show us in the 5 o'clock hour today. Adam Klug, the winner yesterday of the fantabulous game show. Now we're going to find out what he knows about sports. He's eager to show us.
Kind of feels like you want to put me in my place. Like you feel like I ran my lip a little much. You want to show me who's
ran
boss.
your lip a little much.
That's what it feels like.
I think you're going to do fine, but we'll see. I think there's some fun questions I have lined up for you in a little while. We have a big 5 before that, but right now, the rules for Chris versus the Fan, as read by today's host, Adam Klug.
You have to make it through 3 rounds of questions. Each question will get progressively more difficult. If you get the question right, you move on to the next round. If you get it wrong, Chris has a chance to answer. If he gets it right, you're eliminated. If he gets it wrong, you still get to move on to the next round. And then if you get all the way through all 3, you're today's qualifier.
You will win. Yeah. I don't think we had a winner yesterday. We had to go to the tiebreaker. So see what happens today.
Chris
Adam
versus the Fan is presented by SD Fat Loss.
Yes, it is.
20 to 30 pounds in just 60 days. Visit sdfatloss.com to schedule your free consultation.
I want to amend that. They said 20 to 30, but 37 over here.
37 if you're Chris Ello.
That's right. So you can get it done. All right, you want to pick a contestant today there? Bring him on. You're the host of the show.
Alex in Cardiff.
All right. Let's do that. Alex?
Hello.
Alex is a good player. By the way, if you are a first-time player, which I don't think Alex is, then you
What's
get the
a first-time player? I'm only familiar with first-time player.
Yeah, if you're one of those, you'll get the first question for free, but pretty sure Alex doesn't qualify there. So here we go.
Where was the Super Bowl played last year?
Not that easy, I don't think.
Oh. Miami.
Miami says. You would think I would know. Was it in Vegas last year?
You would think I would know this, but let me just take a stab.
I'm taking a stab, kind of a stab.
Las Vegas.
It was Las Vegas. Okay.
Thanks, Alex.
Sorry, Alex.
Try Justin.
Justin. Hi, Justin.
What's up, fellas?
How are you?
How we doing?
Good.
Excellent, thank you.
Turn down your radio, please, just to make sure.
Here we go,
Okay,
Justin.
will do.
He's got the radio turned down. Now we can play ball.
Which pitcher leads all of Major League Baseball in strikeouts?
Oh, I'm going to go with Dylan Cease.
Dylan Cease. Good call.
He's got a comfortable margin right now in the strikeout race.
Question number 2.
Number 2. You know the Padres, by the way, Adam Klug, the only team in baseball that have 2 guys in the top 10 of the strikeout list. Cease and Michael
You're
King.
using up all of the clock here.
Huh?
I'm going to give him a fresh... Well, the clock is running out here. I'm going to give him a fresh clock.
Fresh clock. Okay.
What team did these 3 players play together on? Tommy Pham, Charlie Morton, and Jose Alvarado.
Who? Who's that?
He's currently one of the elite relievers on the Phillies.
Oh, that guy.
Tommy Pham, Charlie Morton, Jose Alvarado.
Who did they all play for together, Justin?
I'm going to go with the...
You went out there. Can you say it again?
Did we lose him?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
now
we
we
got
can. What'd
you
you
now.
say?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, was it the Rays?
He goes with the
Tampa
Rays.
Bay Rays
Got it.
of 2019.
Oh, Justin's
well
a player.
done.
Justin's a player.
All
Not
right.
first time.
No, but you're looking good. One
Let's
to
go
go.
with round 3. Going for the perfecto here, not even giving Chris a chance.
That's right.
Aaron Judge currently leads all MLB players with 39 home runs. Who is tied with Shohei Ohtani for second place with 32 home runs?
Oh, boy.
I'm going to go with Bobby Witt Jr.?
Bobby Witt Jr.
This is bad luck for Justin because the Padres just played this team last weekend.
Yes, they did.
And I saw this guy play, and I was shocked at how many home runs he had. I didn't know he had that many home runs. I believe it's Anthony Santander of the Orioles. Tough break, Justin. You're a really good player. I know that. You'll win soon, just not today. Not today.
Let's go with Ollie.
Hi, Ollie.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Not a lot. Good to have you on.
Here we go.
Good to be on.
All right.
Which country is Wimbledon played in?
That's a scrappy question. Wait, what'd you say?
French?
France. Do you want to take I'm going to give you. I'm not going to give him another guess.
It's a first round one. Come on.
England. Sorry about that. Ollie. I don't know if he understood the question right, but maybe he's just not a tennis guy. Could be the case. All right. Well, gets another contestant into the fray. Burns more of Scraby's questions. That's what I like. Who you
Let's
going
see
with?
here. We are going to go with Terry.
Terry. Terry in Mission Valley. Hi, Terry. How are you, man? We're not hearing you too well for some reason, Terry. Are you
We're going
there?
to put him back on hold. We'll go with Aaron.
No, Aaron gets the call. Hi, Aaron.
How you guys doing
Oh,
today?
that's better. Oh, I can hear you. I like it. All right, Aaron. Good luck.
Gentlemen.
Here we go.
Thank you.
Aaron, what is the national sport of Japan?
Oh my God. National sport of Japan. I think I might go with baseball.
I would think bigger than that, Aaron.
Bigger is an interesting word there, Chris.
I know. I was trying to give him a hint, but it was too late.
Oh, I know it's sumo wrestling. Damn it.
Give it to him. I say give it to him.
We're in a good mood on a Friday.
We're in a good mood on a Friday. You're
Sumo
right.
wrestling.
It is sumo wrestling. Yeah, there you go.
All right. Should we get one?
Thank you, guys.
Here
You're
we
welcome.
go.
Take advantage of this now.
In soccer, what is the name of the field?
A pitch.
Pitch.
Pitch. Winner. All right. Very good. The only thing that's bad about giving Aaron that one is that the rest of the contestants out there are going to get furious with you probably.
After you just didn't give the other guy Wimbledon.
I know. People get mad when you're being unfair to Aaron. You know what? Yes, we are. We're big Aaron fans on this show.
At least you're being honest.
Yeah, we're cheating for Aaron. What can I tell you out there?
Here we go. Round 3.
Appreciate that.
3 pitchers are tied for the MLB lead in wins with 13.
Oh, boy.
Name any of the 3 pitchers.
Any
Just
of
one.
them.
There are 3
Any
correct
of
answers.
Any of
Any
them.
of the pitchers.
3 pitchers.
Chris Sale.
What was that?
He said Chris Sale. I think he might have a win. I don't know. He's got
Chris
it.
Sale.
Chris Sale is right.
The other 2 are Seth Lugo, old friend,
Ah.
and Grayson Rodriguez.
Rangers?
Who?
Grayson
I
Rodriguez.
would have never
the
got that.
Orioles.
Chris Sale's the only one I would have got, but that's all you needed to get. Aaron, congratulations. Stay there. Adam will get your information. You'll have a chance to win the trip to Las Vegas. For the rest of you, send a complaint note to Scraby. He loves those. We'll take a quick timeout. More Gwynn and Chris is coming up as traffic in. All right, we'll get you that, and then back with a bunch of more stuff, including a Big Five.
Can you do it?
All right, welcome back to the show. 4:19 is the time. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr. He'll be right back with us here shortly. We got a big five at the bottom of the hour for you. Later on in the program, our interview with Jackson Merrill, the should-be Rookie of the Year winner in the National League. I'm just going by what Adam Klug told me yesterday. 2 years ago, you had a position player who was really, really good, Michael Harris. And then you had a pitcher who was dominant in Spencer Strider. Adam Klug reminding us all yesterday that the position player, Michael Harris, was the Rookie of the Year. So will history repeat in 2024? I don't know. Paul Skeens has got a lot of support. But Jackson Merrill has been great, and he was great on with us earlier today. We'll play that for you in the 5 o'clock hour. If you missed it the first time around, even if not, you might want to listen to it again. We've got some good news. According to our own, the great one. How did you find, by the way, I'd like to know, you know what, I got you here for a minute. Adam Klug is he's the program director of the station. I mean, he's the guy who makes it all go. And we appreciate him sitting in for Scraby here today again. But Adam, can you give us a Reader's Digest version of how you discovered the great Sammy Levitt and brought him to us a couple of years ago, basically changing all of our lives forever for the better?
Sam
Because
Levitt,
you had I imagine a few people probably were interested in that job.
Sam Levitt reached out directly to me.
Really?
A year or so before the post was ever in, just said, I'd like to introduce myself, form a relationship. You know, I work within, at the time, I believe he was with the Sod Poodles, right, which is within the Padres
Amarillo
organization.
play-by-play guy.
And so I got to know him. I Zoomed with him and got to know him a little bit. And that's not to say anything about the job. The job wasn't available at that time. But then whenever
Interesting.
a year
But that's a
he
good.
just said,
but that in and itself is a good bit of advice for everybody out there who might be looking for something.
And other people have done that as well. So he's not the only person. And I can't meet with everybody, but I try my best to meet with as many people as I can and expand my own network and just form relationships. It's a relationship business. And then the job came available, whatever it was, a year later, and he applied for it and went through the interview process just like many, many other people did.
Yeah.
And he distinguished himself.
Now, we don't know who he beat out for the job.
I mean, I do, but...
Yeah, you do, but we
Right.
don't. But just from my perch over here, you chose wisely.
Thank you. I
Sam
appreciate
Levitt
that,
has
Chris.
been an unbelievably good addition
I share your sentiment.
to our ball club here.
And the reason you bring that up is...
Because he's got some good news on Fernando Tatis Jr., but I want to say one more thing.
Sure.
There has not ever been a job that I've been replaced on that I loved the person who replaced me as much as Sam Levitt. Because I was the previous pregame show guy.
Right.
To Sam Levitt. I'll have to say about that, thank goodness for Sam Levitt. As much as I enjoy doing the pregame.
Sure.
I enjoy not doing it more.
I'm sure.
All right, he was out today, though, and caught some footage of Fernando Tatis Jr., and if you're on the YouTube chat, you can see some of that footage. But Fernando's out there playing some catch, throwing the ball around a little bit. And, you know, Tony was talking with him earlier, and, you know, we really haven't heard a lot about Fernando. The only time you see him is during games when he's kind of sitting in the dugout watching, and you really don't know. I mean, wouldn't it be wonderful to have him back and just know, like, 2 weeks from now we could get Fernando back? You know, I mean, Bryce Johnson's a guy, and so is David Peralta, but come on. Your lineup's, like, so much better, so much more dangerous with Fernando Tatis Jr. back in it, and hopefully he's getting closer. Mike Schilt, did he not provide a little bit of an update? Let's hear it.
This morning with Ben and Woods. Here we go.
Okay.
Toddy's still in a good place recovering, but not in a place where he is cleared to ramp up baseball activity yet. But is hitting the cage. It looks good, feels good. Is doing some low impact things that allows him to test and see where he's at, and then kind of take it from there. But we don't have anything definitive on Toddy at the moment.
I'm just going to call Fugazi on that. I think they have a pretty good idea when he's going to be back. I don't think Mike Schulte will want to tell us because they don't want us to be expecting him to be back a certain date and then something goes wrong and then they have to change it. They got to know organizationally about when Fernando Tatis Jr. is going to come back, and I don't blame them for not sharing it with us. I'm just saying. He was out there playing catch today, as you saw the footage from Sam Levitt. So keep your fingers crossed that Fernando's back sooner rather than later. Makes the Padres offense, which has been really good lately anyway, a whole lot more dynamic than it is. So that's the latest on Fernando. Michael King, if you didn't hear earlier, said he's fine, but did have some swelling after getting hit by that line drive last Saturday in Baltimore. Padres still have not made anything official as to who is going to be their starting pitcher on Sunday. Mike Schulte told Ben and Woods today, they got a lot out of him today. How is the relationship, would you say, between Ben and Woods and Mike Schulte?
I'd say it's good.
Yeah? Pretty good?
Strong relationship.
Strong? Really?
Yeah, they went down, when they went to spring training, they spent some time. They went out to dinner with him.
Okay.
I believe took him to P.F. Chang's.
They took him to P.F. Chang's?
I believe so.
Really? Was that, and I imagine you received the receipt.
I did. That goes on the old
So
expense report.
So you took him out to dinner at P.F. Chang's. That was very nice of you.
Mr. Odyssey took him out.
Mr. Odyssey took Mike Schulte out to dinner. Because every time I hear them, they seem like they're not, I don't want to say combative, but I always feel like they're asking stuff and pushing a little envelope, and Mike Schulte is like, don't push too far.
He can be a little protective with information.
Right.
But Ben wanted to get out of him. There was a little awkwardness this morning when Ben asked him about Sunday's starter.
Yeah.
But he got a little information out of him.
He got enough. Let's play that for those who missed it from earlier. This is Ben and Woods trying to get information from Mike Schulte on who is going to start this Sunday.
Yeah, it's something I usually announce or we talk about in our media session before the game.
Yeah. Okay, well, I told you he wasn't going to answer that one, but I had to ask it. So there, asked and
fair to ask. It's fair.
Asked and not answered. I know people are just kind of curious, and there's a lot of explanations for it. I'm not trying to create a panic.
No, I don't want any panics either. I mean, effectively, if you really must know, Michael's still dealing with the comebacker, and he's a little sore from the comebacker he took in his last start, and he needs a couple extra days.
So they got what they wanted. Good job by Ben and Woods. And thanks to Mike Schulte for giving us a little info on Michael King. People wanted to know. I think in general, to me, this all is not rocket science. We're not trying to cure cancer, just playing baseball games. I think it's a little comical how protective teams are with information like that. But this is not a knock on Mike Schulte in any way, shape, or form. It's just the general, right? Nobody ever wants to tell anybody anything about anybody. And, to me, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. If you just said, yeah, we'll see. Michael King might be able to start Sunday, might not. That's all you have to say. But that's just me. 4:28 is the time. Big Five is coming up next on Gwynn and Chris. Stick around.
Ben and Woods.
433, Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr., Mr. Scraby is out, Mr. Klug is in. Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan. About an hour from now, Sam Levitt takes over with the Padre pregame show. And then around 6:30 tonight, a little after that, Padres will get things started with the Colorado Rockies. Randy Vasquez will throw the first pitch of tonight's ball game. For San Diego, 2-game winner Austin Gomber looms for Colorado. That's right, 2-game winner. Here we are in August. But need I remind you, 0.9 ERA against the Padres. Everything you think of with the Rockies against the Padres versus the Rockies against everybody else honestly just makes you shake your head. Hopefully the Padres can change the narrative this weekend. We have a big 5 for you. Lots of other things going on in sports that we've not yet touched upon. Jackson Merrill, our interview with him, coming up in the 5 o'clock hour right now. Traffic. And then the big 5.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Vicki Pepper.
5 north at Carmel Mountain, got an accident blocking the 2 left lanes. 805 south at the 163, still got this collision blocking the left lane. Both of those incidents going to cost you about 10 minutes. I'm Vicki Pepper with Gwynn and Chris on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's that time of the show when we check on the latest in sports. Only the most important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big 5 starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, gentlemen, I am happy to be back with you guys for a second day here, going on the Big 5. How you guys doing today?
We're really excited that you're here again, Adam. You've done a great job so far.
Fantastic.
We hardly miss Scraby at all.
Yeah, you guys kind of have to say that, don't you? All right, let's get started today on the Big 5.
No, we really mean that. That part we really mean. We hardly miss him.
Number 5.
All right, guys. Novak Djokovic accomplished something today that he's never accomplished in his storied tennis career. He reached the finals of the Olympics in men's singles for the first time ever, defeating Lorenzo Musetti 6-4, 6-2. He'll now play Carlos Alcaraz on Sunday for the gold, which will be a rematch of the past 2 Wimbledon championships, each won by Alcaraz. Chris, our tennis aficionado,
yeah,
who do you like in the gold medal match, Djokovic or Alcaraz?
I'll tell you what, Alcaraz is really, he's won both matches at Wimbledon, but I don't think it's fair to say he has his number. I mean, both were really incredibly competitive. But Alcaraz should win. I mean, he's in the prime of his career. I think first of all, I'm setting the stage for Tony Gwynn Jr., the world's biggest Djokovic fan. But the thing that's impressive about Djokovic is that he's been doing what he has been doing here the last couple of years, well past what should be anybody's prime, and still winning majors and still, adding to his total. I think he's at 24. He ended up with a winning record against Nadal. He ended up with a winning record against Federer. I mean, even if you don't want to, you almost have to call him the greatest player who's ever lived. But I think in this case, again, and it's on clay, which I think is a better surface for Djokovic than it is for Alcaraz. But this young guy he's a gamer too. I mean, he plays, and he doesn't care if he's behind. He likes it that way, it seems like. He likes the challenge of winning. I'll take Alcaraz, but it's not going to lessen my opinion of Djokovic any.
Tony, who do you like on Sunday?
Alcaraz. Djokovic it's first of all, it's amazing what he's doing at this age, as Chris just finished saying. I mean, he doesn't, I know he's not the Djokovic that we saw early in his career, but this dude he's tough to beat, man. He really is. And even though I think he cries a lot and, has this fake chip on his shoulder, he is very good. But Alcaraz has we can't say he had his number, But he's beat him twice, and that's more than anybody else can say. So I'm going to say the young man is going to beat the old man here in the Olympics.
Tony's an ageist.
Number 4.
Yes, we've thought that about him for a long time now.
Yesterday, we discussed Justin Herbert's foot injury, even getting into the differences between plantar fascia and plantar fasciitis. Another West Coast NFL quarterback had an injury scare yesterday when it was reported that Seahawks quarterback Geno Smith missed the team's last 2 practices with knee and hip injuries. But today, Adam Schefter reported that Smith shouldn't miss any time. Tony, we'll start with you this time. What are your expectations this year for new head coach Mike Macdonald and the Seahawks?
I don't know what to expect of Mike Macdonald. Remind me where he's coming from, Baltimore?
He was their defensive coordinator. Pete Carroll was shown the door after last
season.
Yes,
I remember I let my man Pete go. I don't know what to expect. I know he had a really good defense in Baltimore, but that doesn't always translate to having, a good offense, and you need offense in today's NFL to win a bunch of ball games. He's going to have another terrific defense to kind of mold, if you will, in his first year. So I don't know what his expectations or what my expectations are for him, but I expect him to be, competitive.
Chris, your thoughts on the Seahawks?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Adam Klug, for letting me know that Mike Macdonald was not just the lead singer for the Doobie Brothers.
Michael McDonald.
That was Michael McDonald, yeah. But I had no idea. Thank you. I had no idea who the coach of the Seahawks was until you said that.
Did you even remember that Pete Carroll was no longer the coach?
Vaguely remembered that, and I think they're going to miss Pete Carroll. I do, I think
they will.
Yeah, it's gonna. I think they're gonna have to pay the price for moving on from Pete Carroll for at least a year. I mean, they're in there with the 49ers. They're in there with one of the greatest coaches in history, according to pundit Sean McVay. Maybe Arizona is somebody that they're on equal footing with, but Geno Smith had a kind of a magic year 2 seasons ago. Last year I thought he returned to earth, and I don't see a lot there for Seattle. I think it's a long season for Seahawks fans, and I'm not going to say they're going to wish they had Pete Carroll, but I think Tony will agree with me. At some point, Seattle fans are going to appreciate what Pete Carroll did for them for a long, long time. I mean, he may not have finished on top, but he put together one of the best teams in football for 15 years, something like that. That's a long stretch, man.
Yeah,
and he did it at the age of like 80 or whatever.
He was the oldest coach for most of the time.
Yeah,
he's on the very short list of coaches who have had success at both the college and NFL level.
That's right.
Obviously won championships at both.
Good point. So even if you're an ageist, you have to appreciate Pete Carroll.
I knew Tony hated Pete Carroll.
Number 3.
Matthew Boyer, the illegal bookmaker at the center of the Shohei Ohtani Ippei Mizuhara scandal, will plead guilty to bookmaking and money laundering charges next week. Tony, is this the end of the Shohei Ohtani gambling saga?
Man, I hate to in 2024 say yeah, because you never say never in these times. Some leakage could happen somewhere else. Somebody else could be involved. I hope not. I'm going to say I hope it is the end of it at this point.
Chris, are we done with this?
I hope so. I was never really one to, jump in on this and try to bury Shohei Ohtani.
Scraby's ears are burning.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, Scraby, because he was trying to bury him.
Look, it doesn't seem to me by anything that we've come across, and, I know there's conspiracy theorists out there, but baseball did their due diligence or said they didn't come up with anything on Shohei. This guy going to have to pay his price now for, what he's involved in. And, the interpreter's already paid his price. So, yeah, let's move on. Hopefully, what I think about gambling in sports. It's the one thing that scares me about the future of sports. But, hopefully this situation, at least, they can put to bed.
Number 2.
The Phillies are struggling right now, and Bryce Harper is mired in a 1-for-30 slump. After going 0-for-5 in Wednesday's loss to the Yankees, Harper said, "We've played, quote, pretty sloppy as a team. We've got to turn the page. We've got to cowboy up and play the right way." Cowboy up, wasn't that the old Red Sox thing?
That was the old Red Sox thing, 2004.
Kevin Millar.
Kevin Millar and Bill Miller and all those guys.
On a scale from 1 to 10, Chris, what's your level of concern about the Phillies?
0. Especially Bryce Harper.
That's off the scale.
It's not starting. Wasn't even a choice. I don't have it in front of me, but I'm pretty sure Bryce Harper opened the season in April going 1 for 30 or something along those lines. He didn't get a hit for the first month. And then Bryce Harper, went crazy. I think the Padres, came to town or something, and he got he re-upped.
He came to town.
Yeah, he came to town here. He's too good. So a slump like that doesn't concern me about him. I don't think it even concerns him. But I think it's fair that he says, a team like the Phillies, they're expected to, stay on top. And, look, I was looking yesterday. I think you could win a few bar bets with this, but right now the best record in baseball does not belong to the Phillies or the Yankees or the Orioles. It belongs to the Guardians. It's crazy. But, Bryce Harper, he expects the team to compete for a championship this year, and they haven't been playing at that level. And that's what leaders do. They speak up.
Tony, let's see if you can play by the rules. On a scale from 1 to 10, what's your level of concern about the Phillies?
I can't think of a number lower than 0, so we'll just go 0 again.
He's going 0, too.
I think the proof is in the pudding at this point. I mean, they are allowed to have a little rough patch here, and Bryce Harper certainly allowed to go 1 for 30 and everybody not panic because they've been here before. They're just – and the fact that it's mainly because they're not playing good baseball, that's fixable. Those things are definitely fixable, and I'm sure in another week and a half, we'll be talking about their offense like exploding and then back to the basics. So, when it comes to teams like the Phillies who have shown their kind of their armor over the past few years, you tend to, at least I tend to go with the bag of baseball cards and a little bit of history.
All right, I'm going to call an audible and ask an impromptu question here before we get to number 1. Do you guys still both think the Phillies are the team to beat in the National League after the trade deadline?
Well, yes, I do. Right now I especially do because the Dodgers look, awful. I expect the Dodgers to look better come playoff time. The Brewers don't scare me. I think they've made a nice run. Atlanta's just had too many injuries. And then the rest is, the bunch of wild card teams. So, you're going to have to knock off the Phillies. The Padres have had their problems with the Phillies going back to that, championship series. So maybe somebody else will have to knock off the Phillies for them. I don't know. But, Phillies, you got to go through there to get to the World Series.
You agree, Tony?
Yep.
Number 1.
Today was Skip Bayless's final day at Fox Sports 1. He tweeted out that he will now pursue other opportunities and is excited for what's coming up. This is a broad, generic question. You can answer it how you like, Tony. What do you think of Skip Bayless as a TV pundit?
I think his time is ticking. He'll probably get another show, but I don't know if it'll be in the same capacity we've seen the last 2. And, I actually had learned to be okay with Skip until the whole Shannon Sharp thing. I just thought the way he was disrespected him on live TV and almost kind of put his nose up to it just really changed my opinion about him at that point. And so, I don't wish to see anybody have to, lose a job or, but he's made a ton of money, so it's not like he's hurting. A. B, I just think the type of commentary that he provides, I think is starting to run afoul now. I think you see far more. He was once a journalist. This is not really journalism that he's doing now, but you see far more pundits taking kind of a different approach to how they talk about sports than I feel like Skip does. And I just think that style is becoming outdated at this point. And, I think his time is ticking.
Chris has been licking his chops over here.
Yeah, I never liked Skip Bayless as an on-air guy. It's funny to me because he started out as a really, really excellent sports writer for the Dallas Morning News and may have done some other things before that. But so he cut his teeth on being a journalist that had to be accurate
right?
That had to check sources.
Yeah,
that probably had to check.
Chris was licking his chops for this.
Yeah, probably had to check a couple of sources.
Talking about accountability here?
Yeah, have a little accountability and put stuff in print, that he could stand behind. I cut my teeth the same way, not in the same level as Skip, but I was at the LA Times. I learned this stuff. I hope that I've been able to bring a lot of it to sports talk and the way I cover sports now. Skip Bayless seemed to forget everything he learned. This guy just mouthed off and hoped for a reaction and then doubled down, once he got that reaction. And I'm actually, really happy about this in the sense, not personally for Skip Bayless so much, but happy in the sense that what Tony said, that what he does maybe isn't playing as much anymore. And the audience has kind of found it old and tired. And I appreciate that. I hope the audience expects a little bit more from the people that are covering sports and covering everything.
If I'm not mistaken, he was like one of the first he kind of founded the non-athlete tough talk, I feel like. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
I remember him talking crazy about guys. It was on television. Radio show hosts have been doing that for a very, very long time. But on TV, usually a pundit was a former player or something like that would come down in a way that Skip did. But Skip was kind of like, I thought, the kind of founder of that style.
I think Skip Bayless is lucky to make it through his TV career in one piece, honestly. You guys saw what happened to the poor guy in Tennessee this week when Jonathan Simmons rushed the table during one of his radio shows. I got to believe there's a laundry list of athletes who wanted to do something similar.
You know how I know that Shannon Sharp has a lot of self-control, because I often think about Jim Rome and Chris Everett.
Yeah.
And him going across to get him like that.
Mm-hmm.
Shannon Sharp was much closer and a much bigger dude too. If he wanted to, he could have just reached over and did anything he wanted, but he didn't. And man, I tell you, that day changed my entire opinion of. In my opinion, wasn't great on Skip, but it really took a turn for the worse after that.
What you guys just talked about essentially being threatened by athletes is why I found it so interesting that a recently retired athlete who played in the era of Skip saying what he said on TV, in Richard Sherman, was willing to be a part of that show and work with him.
Well,
hey, money talks.
Richard Sherman was controversial in his own right. So
Richard Sherman told him he was bad at life.
Right, and he went in and sparred with him.
Like, went in on him. This is why he was still playing. And so, yeah, that was a weird. It was a weird combo for sure.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Skip Bayless what he does next. But I hope it's something in the private sector, because I've honestly had enough of him, and I had enough of him a long time ago. All right, off you go, Skip. Off we go, skipping our way to a break. Gwynn and Chris continues with a look ahead. More of a look ahead to tonight's series against those darn Rockies. Game 1. Also, we'll hear again from the great Padres rookie Jackson Merrill, if you missed it earlier. It's coming back up on Gwynn and Chris. All right, away we go into the happy hour, our final half hour or so together this week. Wrapping up a Friday with you, Gwynn and Chris. Hello, Tony Gwynn Jr. and Adam Klug sitting in for Mr. Scraby today. Padres trying to turn things around against the Rockies. They've dropped 5 of 7 to Colorado. We know they got swept here by Colorado earlier this season. Somehow the Rockies have seemed to have the Padres' number. They can't beat anybody else. They come in with a rather non-intimidating record of 40-70. They've won 16 games on the road all season, although 3 of those were here. Manager Mike Shildt, have the Padres learned anything about facing these Rockies?
I mean, it gets back to how we execute earlier. It's the same answer. I don't want to be a broken record, but, our starting pitchers need to go deeper in games, and, we need to be able to take advantage of our opportunities offensively and play clean, and our bullpen needs to be able to, bring it home. So we do those things, you can insert the opponent. It's going to be the same basic how it works.
So there you have it. And, yeah, he's right. Everything he just said, the Padres certainly did not do in that 3-game sweep at the hands of the Rockies earlier this season. It was the Rockies who did all that. Austin Gomber will pitch for Colorado tonight. Randy Vasquez for the Friars. A couple of quick news notes. Michael King, still questionable as to whether or not he'll pitch on Sunday. Padres still have that spot open in the rotation. King hit by a line drive, swelling on the leg, according to him, to Michael King. Not bad. Says he's ready to go, but Padres want to be sure before they send him back out there. And a Fernando Tatis Jr. sighting a little while ago. Our Sam Levitt tweeting out a little video of Fernando doing some throwing. Hopefully that is the sign of things to come, like soon, that Fernando will be back. But we don't know anything. Mike Shildt did tell Ben and Woods this morning that there's still no timeline for his resumption of, quote, baseball activities, although I guess playing catch has to be considered a baseball activity. Jackson Merrill, the Padres Rookie of the Year candidate, made his first appearance on Gwynn and Chris a little earlier today. You will hear that interview if you stick around. We'll play it for you in about 15, 20 minutes. Right now, though, I'm trying to appease my boss. That's right. Don't all of us do that? Our boss asks us for something. We try to do what they ask. Want our boss to be happy with us. Yesterday, Adam Klug got a chance to compete in the fantabulous sports game show. Only yesterday was not a sports category. Despite the fact he defeated Tony Gwynn Jr., Adam Klug said, hey, I was looking forward to showing my sports knowledge chops. Well, I'm here to appease Adam. And so we have a little category or a little segment here called Fun with Trivia. And we're going to see just how much you do know, Mr. Klug. I think you'll have some fun with some of these questions. Some of them are rather straightforward. But let's find out just how much about baseball you do know. We do know that your favorite team is, in baseball, it's okay to say it.
Padres.
Yeah, I know, besides them.
The Atlanta Braves.
That's right. You're from Atlanta. You went to Georgia. We get it. So I'll just start off with a softball for you. Braves' all-time home run leader is Hank Aaron. Everybody pretty much knows that. Who's second on the all-time Braves home run list? Adam Klug?
I want to say Eddie Matthews.
You do? Yeah? You gonna say it?
Sure.
Fourth on the list is Dale Murphy with 371. Third on the list is Chipper Jones, 468. Eddie Matthews, former Del Mar resident. You got that one.
Boom.
Nice, 493. All right, you got the first one. All right, here's a bit of a riddle. See how you do on this one. Baseball.
This is like sports knowledge going way
all
back.
Sports, all sports, all baseball. It's all baseball. What are the most number of pitches that a batter can see in one plate appearance, not counting foul balls?
Say that one more time.
All right. What are the most number of pitches a batter can see in one plate appearance, not counting foul balls. Obviously, if there were foul balls, you could see an infinite number of pitches.
This feels like a trick question.
We'll see.
I'm going to go with 6, and my reasoning is you can get to a full count, which is 5 pitches.
Right.
And then we'll see one more
You would see the
pitch.
6th.
So I will go with 6.
You're going to go with 6. Makes sense.
But it's wrong, right?
It is wrong. The answer is 11. You want to know how that can be arrived at?
Yes, because I would have never guessed that.
You'd have never guessed 11, right? If you are batting with 2 outs in the bottom of the second inning, say, and the count reaches 3-1, and then on the 5th pitch, a base runner is thrown out stealing, you then would come up to bat to start the next inning.
And that's
it's the same plate appearance. And you would see 6 pitches that next time.
Well, then consider me a novice when it comes to sports, because I didn't know that all counted as one.
Yes,
plate
that's one
appearance.
plate appearance. Yeah. All right. That's just kind of a tricky riddle one. All right, back to the Braves for you.
Oh, my gosh.
In the famous NLCS 7th game when Francisco Cabrera singled in the winning 2 runs.
Sid Bream.
With 2 outs in the 9th inning, sending the Atlanta Braves to the World Series. Who was the losing pitcher for the Pittsburgh Pirates?
I thought you were going to go Sid Bream.
I know you did. That's why I threw you a curveball. Sid Bream scored the winning run ahead of a rather weak throw by Barry Bonds. Who was the losing pitcher for Pittsburgh that night? Do you remember? Braves fan, as you are. I believe, I'm going to give you a hint. I believe this guy won a Cy Young.
Doug Drabeck.
Doug Drabeck is correct. Doug Drabeck was shutting out those Braves 2-0 in that game going to the bottom of the 9th inning. He gave up a run. Stan Belinda came in and actually gave up the hit to Francisco Cabrera.
That was a seminal moment in my
sports
fandom of my childhood.
I imagine
in Atlanta,
it was.
Where were you when Sid slid?
When Sid slid, that's good.
Do you remember who was standing right behind home plate saying,
when Sid slid?
Get down, get down. He's used to live here in San Diego, and I've met him
David
since.
Justice?
That's correct, David Justice.
Mike Lavalier on the tag that he never got there.
Their main catcher was Don Slott, I believe.
There you go. All right, Braves went to the World Series.
Tim Wakefield on that team?
Don't know. Don't have all the rosters. I do know that even though it's a memorable moment in Atlanta, they did not win the World Series that year.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
But moving onward, we go to this question for you, Mr. Klug. Name the starting 9 in the game that won the Atlanta Braves their first World Series championship.
Are you kidding me?
How well do you remember your World Series champion Braves of 1995? How well can you do? The starting 9 in the clinching game. I'll let you go in any. You don't have to name the actual batting order. I'm just giving you the
David
9.
Justice,
right
Chipper
field,
Jones,
third base.
I really want to say Brian Jordan at first base. Nope. Oh, that was McGriff.
Fred McGriff, correct. Got 3. That's it? God, I think that'd be a memorable team for you.
It would be Marquise Grissom in center field.
Very good. Marquise Grissom. Yes.
Give me a moment here, my gosh.
You got 4. I thought you'd be good for 6 or 7 here.
Gant?
Nope.
In left field?
Searching for your left fielder?
92. That was the earlier ones.
Your left fielder was a Padre at one time.
Is that Ryan Klesko?
That was Ryan Klesko. Very good. You need a pitcher, catcher, second and short.
I'm going to go with... I don't think that was Greg Olson at catcher. I'm going to go with Javier Lopez.
That's right, Javi Lopez. Good. You're down to 3. Pitcher, second base, shortstop. I would think you'd know the pitcher in the clinching game. Tom Glavine.
He went 8 shutout innings.
Yes, he did. Now you need a double play combination.
Justice hit a solo home run.
That was the only run of the game. They won 1-0 to win their first World Series. The only World Series they won in that great era.
The only one who's coming to my mind right now is Mark Lemke.
That's correct.
There we go. So who do I need? Shortstop?
You need the shortstop, one of the great all-time hitters at the position.
One of the great all-time hitters at the position.
Rafael
Furcal.
Belliard.
Belliard. I was going to say Belliard. Furcal was in the 2000s.
Yeah, Rafael Belliard was the shortstop on a World Series winning team.
My old age is showing here.
Very good.
Longest.
All right, you didn't do bad.
30 years ago?
Yeah, that's a while ago. All right, we're going to go back to a little riddle for you. I don't know if it's a riddle necessarily. Name the 7 different ways a runner can reach base.
A hit?
Correct.
An error?
Correct.
A walk?
Correct.
A hit by pitch?
Correct.
Reaching base on a strikeout where the ball goes by the catcher?
Very good. You got 5. Got 3 more.
You said there's 7.
8. I'm sorry. 8. There are 8 different ways a runner can reach base. Correct. You're down to 2. Good job.
I mean, now it feels like you're patronizing me. Good job. You still haven't gotten them all.
I'm not patronizing you. I'm impressed. These are not easy. I think most people would think they can name this right off the top of their head. It's not easy, especially when you're not even writing it down. You're just trying to think of them. You got hit, walk, error, strikeout, fielder's choice, and hit batter.
Intentional walk?
That's a walk. But so's this other one. So I'm going to give you this one. Catcher's interference. But that's also kind of an error.
Yes.
So that's catcher's interference is 7.
We've seen that this year.
The 8th one nobody ever gets. The 8th way you can get on base that nobody ever gets. Because it's kind of tricky and you don't think about this. You got to understand the question. Name the 8 different ways a runner can reach base. Yeah, you got it almost. Pinch runner.
Pinch runner.
You can reach base as a pinch runner, but nobody ever guesses that.
That's not reaching base. It's being
You're on
inserted
base.
into the game.
All right, you're on base. Name the only pitcher to win 100 games as a San Diego Padre. Only one.
Jake Peavy?
No. Believe it or not.
Our
not
good
correct.
friend Randy Jones?
No, not Randy. Didn't know this one, huh? I don't know. I think a lot of people do know this. There's only one guy in Padre history that's won 100 games. And frankly, there's nobody right now that's close. Like Darvish or Musgrove or none of those guys are closing in on this. This guy may be the only guy who ever wins 100 games for the Padres. He gave up Pete Rose's record-breaking hit.
I do not
Doesn't
know.
help you? Eric Shao is his name. Heard of him?
I have.
All
Learned
right.
something new every day, though.
Eric
I did not know
Shao,
that
100.
He's the only one with 100 wins.
The only one with 100. All right, we got 2 more to go. We got a little time. You're doing very well. I think your baseball knowledge is excellent. But, I mean,
I'm
I'm just
disappointed on the 95 Braves one.
Are
Obviously,
you
I remember Rafael Belliard being a member of the Braves. Just hard to remember he was the starting shortstop on the 95 team.
All right, name the 7 teams who have won 3 or more World Series titles since the beginning of divisional play in 1969.
Well, can I gleefully say not the Dodgers?
No, you cannot gleefully say that, actually.
Well, we don't count the Mickey Mouse one.
Unfortunately for our circumstances here, would they have to count?
All right.
They won an 80. You know, it's funny. The Dodgers also won
Tell me since when again?
Since 69, the divisional play in 1969.
I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were going that far back.
I'm going that far back.
The San Francisco Giants.
Giants, right, yeah.
The Boston Red Sox.
They've won 4.
The New York Yankees.
7.
Dare I say the Oakland Athletics?
4. Believe it or not.
Cincinnati Reds?
3. Got 2. Well, you said the Dodgers already.
The Braves have only won 2. The Marlins have won 2.
Yep, you're leaving one team out. Pretty good.
Only one team?
Yeah, got 1 left. Done good. 3 championships.
Since when again?
Since 1969.
The Blue Jays have 2, I want to say.
Correct.
You want to give me a hint?
Sure. They wear red uniforms. I don't know.
The Cardinals.
Yes, that's right. The Cardinals.
That was actually, I was going to say them before I got on the roll.
The Dodgers, had the shortened 2020 championship that everybody gives them grief for.
The one where the Giants had Mickey Mouse ear giveaways when the Dodgers were in town?
Right. But they get grief for that. But they don't get grief for the win they had in 1981, which was also a strike-shortened year.
Well, the 95 Braves also won in a strike.
Yes, they did.
But it was 140
It was a lot of games, but it was shortened. Yeah, the only legit let's just be honest here. The only legit championship the Dodgers have since then is 1988. There, take that, Dodger fans. All right, we got a couple of minutes left. I'm going to see how well you can do on this category. There are 13. This is kind of a fun one for people, but there are 13 players in Major League Baseball history that have won back-to-back MVP awards.
Jeez.
Strangely, all 9 positions on the diamond have had at least one back-to-back MVP winner. How many of those do you think you can name? So you're naming...
I believe Frank Thomas.
Frank Thomas is one of the first basemen. There's actually 4 first basemen, but you're covered at first base with Frank Thomas. Very good. Do you know back-to-back MVPs?
I'm wondering, I believe Shohei.
Shohei is not.
He was interrupted by Judge.
He was interrupted there. It's not one back-to-back.
Boy.
See, I don't think you're going to have the... I don't think you're going to have the depth on this one. Some of these go back a little. Not all of them, but some of them.
That's a tough one.
That is a tough one.
Did Juan Gonzalez do it?
Oh, good try. He had 2 out of 3 also. Very close. Yeah, very close. Did not win back-to-back.
I mean, I'm going to be more recent on that. The guys like Pujols and A-Rod.
Pujols did it. He's one of the first basemen. The other 2 first basemen are Miguel Cabrera.
I was going to say Miguel Cabrera.
Yes, and an old-timer named Jimmy Fox. If you want to go second base, you got to go with the big red machine.
Turn back time, I was going to say Joe Morgan.
Joe Morgan, very good. Shortstop.
The catcher did this?
Yes. Catcher who did this was?
I mean, I guess I got to go Johnny Bench.
Of course you got to go Johnny Bench, but it's not correct. It is...
It's not Pudge.
It's not Pudge.
Piazza?
No, but it's a great catcher of all time. He won back-to-back, of course. Yogi Berra. He was the catcher who did this. So we got catcher, first base, second base, shortstop. Let's play 2.
Ernie
Banks. Third baseman. Interesting that I think it was Manny Machado, if I'm not mistaken, who was listing off what he thought were the greatest third baseman of all time.
Is that what you're going with?
No, it's not Brooks.
Frank?
No, but...
Schmidt.
Yes, Mike Schmidt won back-to-back. But you know what? Manny Machado did not name him as one of his great third basemen. And I feel like it was just like an oversight. I don't think he was leaving him off intentionally.
You're asking me some really way back questions here.
The outfield, left field, you should know who won back-to-back.
Barry Bonds.
Center field, he's on...
Griffey Jr.?
Nope. Center field, he's on Jackson Merrill's Mount Rushmore. For outfielders.
Willie Mays.
Nope.
Mickey
Mantle, correct. And right field, also a Yankee, Roger Maris. And, oh, by the way, there was a pitcher who once won back-to-back MVPs, an old Detroit Tiger in the 40s named Hal Newhouser. Anyway, there you go. Adam Kluge.
Thanks for making me feel like I don't know as much as
I think you knew a lot. You knew a lot. You were up against it, though.
You were working on that all night. I said what I said yesterday, and you just sat at home all night going... twiddling your thumbs going, I'll show him.
Actually, I started working on it this morning.
Either way, the point is you plotted. You said, I'll put him in his place.
I will say that the only one of those that I did not know off the top of my head was the starting 9 of the 95 Braves. The rest of that stuff is pretty much stuff that I've committed over the years, and I use in social trivia
MVPs
questions.
At each position?
I do, yeah. That's just one of those weird things I know. So... anyway, you did well. I think you did well. My favorite question of them all is to name the 8 ways to reach base.
I'm going to contest the pinch runner one.
I'm sorry.
That's not reaching
I'm sorry,
base.
I asked it wrong. Name the 8 ways a runner can get on base. That's a better way to ask it, and then pinch runner qualifies.
Your 11 pitch one, too. That was...
You like that one? 11 pitches.
No, I didn't like that one.
1 plate appearance.
I'm gonna give myself, on that one, I'm going to give myself a... for the 6.
Oh, you're taking a bell for that?
I don't think I fell for 5 with the full count. I even
you
got
didn't fall for 5. Adam Klug, ladies and gentlemen, a man with great baseball knowledge. When we come back, Jackson Merrill's interview with us from earlier today. You don't want to miss it after traffic. Still Water SoCal pregame show starring Sam Levitt. It's coming up in about 15 minutes. Chris Ello, Tony Gwynn Jr. here. Adam Klug alongside after impressing us with his baseball knowledge. Gwynn and Chris wrapping up. Earlier today, we had a chance to visit with Jackson Merrill. We've been looking forward to it all year long. What a season he's having. 13 home runs, 11 stolen bases, 286, 768 OPS, an all-star game, all in his first season. Here's our conversation with him.
Jackson Merrill is here, finally, to join us. Center fielder, all-star center fielder Jackson Merrill, and now the finalist representative for the Padres of the Heart and Hustle Award. Jackson, how was your day, my friend?
My day's going good. Sunny day, no clouds out, so it's going really good.
First, the chat has revealed to us that today is your mom's birthday. We wish her a very happy birthday. Today I got a chance to chop it up with Mr. and Mrs. Merrill on the last road trip. Lovely, lovely people. I'm sure they are super excited to be following you around, man. We haven't got a chance to talk on this airway about your season so far. I mean, it's got to have been a pretty cool experience at the big league level for you in 2024.
Yeah, no, it's been awesome. The guys have made me feel really comfortable, so it's kind of just a really fun season. You kind of just playing baseball like a little kid, and I think that's really important.
Jackson, Chris here, and I just want to take a second while I have the opportunity for the fans who don't get a chance to talk to you, to thank you for the way you've played and for playing the game the right way. I was talking to some people the other night about it. Not only have you had a lot of success and things have gone well for you, but you seem to really respect the game. You have fun playing the game. You don't call a lot of attention to yourself. These are all wonderful characteristics that a lot of us really enjoy watching in your play. And I'm curious, who would you give the most credit to out there for helping you maybe play the game of baseball, quote, the right way?
I think definitely my father, just the way he raised me, maybe not on the baseball field, but, off the field, to be a respectful human being, and then just seeing the game and how it was played before I got here. There's plenty of other players before me that I watched growing up, and, they demonstrated a way to play the game, and that's kind of how I want to keep going, I like swag, I like flair, but, I'm not going to try and draw attention to myself always. Just try and play my game, and hopefully that draws attention to me.
Jackson, I take you back to Korea in the breakfast room, an early morning. You hadn't even really gotten your career started yet, and you and I got a chance to have a conversation. We were talking about hitting. We were talking about your approach. Somewhere down the line in about, what was it, June, you started hitting a boatload of home runs. I know from having had the discussion with you that is not your intent, but what goes through your mind, though, as you get on one of these heaters, and it seemed like you were hitting a home run every other night?
No, I mean, it's awesome. It's just fun, but I think just what we talked about, just staying to that approach and not trying to get too big or not trying to do too much really helps. I think it'll just come naturally. Homers always come naturally. None of it is really forced. So I know some people got the ability to kind of pick and choose, and some people are power guys, and that's what they do. But for me, I just try to hit line drives, and sometimes I hit line drives just high in the air.
Jackson Merrill is with us, and I think he's the best rookie in the National League. I know a lot of our listeners think that too, Jackson. And I'm curious, I almost think I know the answer to this because of the way you play the game. But is that even remotely important to you? I mean, people talk about Skeens, talk about yourself and that kind of award. Is it ever even enter your mind?
No, dude, it's World Series or nothing to me. I don't really have any other goals in this game besides winning. So, obviously an award is cool, but it's really nothing compared to winning a World Series. I'd love to do both. That'd be awesome. But yeah.
Jackson, that clip is going to be clipped quite often. I have a feeling we're going to hear that quite often. I got to ask you a little bit about your transition to center field. You said that you really had only worked in left field at all during the offseason. You get to spring training, you're in center field, and they haven't moved you since. I want to hear your evaluation on how you feel defensively in center field.
For the amount I played, maybe kind of good, but I'm always looking to improve in any way I possibly can. Like spring training, I was supposed to go play left field, and go from there, but I think like 2 weeks in or like a week and a half in, they put me in center, and I didn't argue about it. I just kind of went and tried to do a job, and it's what I've been doing since. So, definitely ways to get better, and I want to, but yeah, I think I've been doing a decent job.
Is there any part of you that wants to eventually get back to the infield, or you just going to play wherever they put you?
Wherever they put me wherever they need. I'll do it for them. If it happens to be shortstop again at some point, I'm in. But if it's center field for the rest of my career, then I'm in with that too.
Merrill is with us, Padres rookie outfielder, and as Tony mentioned, all-star outfielder. I've heard many other longtime players who finally get into an all-star game and are walking around a clubhouse for the first time with the likes of maybe a Pujols or whoever it was that they looked up to in the game, and here you get in your first year to walk in with Bryce Harper and Yelich and Ohtani and everybody else we can name. What was your all-star experience like for you?
No, it was awesome. It was a cool experience. A lot of media, but I guess that's part of it. So, that wasn't too bad. But other than that, it was really cool. I enjoyed the game. I enjoyed, honestly, the selection, like just being honored the most, But playing the game on the field with a bunch of different people from a bunch of different teams, I think that was the best part.
Now, we know you grew up in Maryland, and I imagine going back to the East Coast, at least based on the way you played, it seemed like you had it circled on the calendar. I mean, whether it was Boston, a team that you grew up rooting for, or going back home to Baltimore, which one of those two stands out as the one that you really were looking forward to the most?
I don't really know, honestly. I never really had a big thought about it. I think the best part for me was just trying to play the same game everywhere, not really making too much different in my game, just going and playing like it was a normal baseball game everywhere I went.
Jackson,
I do think that Baltimore was pretty cool to play at.
Yeah, that's your spot. Jackson, we appreciate the time so much. Just one last thing for me. Saw you mention your Mount Rushmore of outfielders. It's an interesting list. I mean, look, Willie Mays, Barry Bonds, Mickey Mantle, Fernando Tatis Jr. got in there. First of all, why Fernando? Secondly, you taking any ribbing on the fact that, my partner's dad didn't quite make the Mount Rushmore of outfielders?
Well, I'm throwing him at my Mount Rushmore. I'll give him a DH spot.
There you go.
But,
fair enough.
But no, Toddy has been a huge help to me and everything. He's probably the reason where I'm at right now in the outfield and why I've had success, because he's kind of around the same age, one of the closer guys in my age on the team, so he's made me feel real comfortable. And, he's taught me some things here and there and just let me play freely. So, it's safe to say that I don't really know if I'd be here without him.
Talk about that a little bit before we let you go. I mean, it's not often that a guy your age comes up to the big league level and has a guy close to his age that has, quite a bit of time. That sounds like it made it a little bit more comfortable for you as you got acclimated at the level.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's just like to have fun. Having someone that likes to have fun with you, it's special.
Well, Jackson, listen, man, we know you got to get to work. Keep up the good work, man. Continued health. Thank you for your time today, and we'll talk later.
Awesome. I appreciate it.
There he was, Jackson Merrill, first of, we hope, many appearances on our program. What a year he's having. And, of course, he's in there tonight. Center field, batting seventh, Padres, Rockies, pregame show right around the corner. Luis Arraez does have the night off tonight. Solano will be in there in the DH spot. And Randy Vasquez will pitch against the Rockies. Austin Gomber. One final story for the week. The Kansas man who pleaded guilty to stealing the Jackie Robinson statue. That was earlier this year. 45-year-old Ricky Aldretti had pleaded guilty in May to theft related to the January disappearance of the statue. I mean, I just didn't get it. I don't know, did this guy ever speak and explain? I guess he just had to steal the statue. I don't know. But didn't they find it melted down or something? Did I recall that?
I thought it was at the bottom of a lake or something.
Or was that it?
Or something.
I don't remember.
I don't remember properly.
I don't either. But anyway, Ricky Aldretti got what I think a lot of us feel he deserved. About 15 years in prison. Lock him up.
Good riddance.
Good riddance. No kidding, man. Unbelievable. A new statue is going to be unveiled this coming Monday at Wichita's McAdams Park, where the original statue stood in Kansas City. All right. Nick DiNucci's here. That means that the EcoWater SoCal pregame show is coming up with Sam Levitt. That's next. Adam Klug in for Matt Scraby. Well done again, sir. Thank you.
Yep. Have a great weekend, everybody. You too, Chris.
Yes, sir. For Tony Gwynn Jr., Chris Ello here. Let's see how the Padres do this time against the Rockies. We'll start finding out next on 97.3 The Fan.
Go Pods.